Coming up on Up at Noon, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 reviews are in, and it sounds okay. Horizon Zero Dawn gets a very cute plushie, and when it's time to Mario Kart, we will Mario Karty hard. All that and more right now on Up at Noon Live.
No, you can't cancel the show. We've been doing it for like 87 weeks.
Are they trying to cancel us again?
They're trying to cancel the show again.
Well, hang up on them. I don't want to cancel the show.
Is that it? I just hang up on them?
Yeah, just hang up. You got. It's like a button though. It's not like the red thing.
I'm gonna hang up on you, and then we have to make the show forever, because that's how phones work.
Yep.
Suck it.
Yeah, that's a true thing that just happened. For
Loser.
real. You saw it here first live on Up at Noon Live. Hi everybody, I'm Max Scoville. This is Brian Altano, and this is Up at Noon. This is a very silly show. I have great news for everybody who's watching us live. We have the chat monitors back. I don't know why I'm pointing. You can't see them. But Omar Yusuf just said, no.
Did they put your chair low and my chair high? Because I feel tall as hell today.
Really?
Yeah, look at
I
this,
think,
man.
well,
I'm up here. Is this what it's like to be up here with you?
No, I think it's just because you just lost weight and you just feel longer. Anyway, we've got a lot of stuff lined up for the show. It's a very, very busy, exciting show.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, if you're watching us live, there's a lot of ways you can do that. We do this every week, and it's still stupid. You can watch us on IGN.com, IGN's PS4, Xbox One, Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube channels.
I was going to do fingers for all of them.
Platforms or whatever.
Ran out immediately.
But the easiest way to get a hold of us, aside from the chats on Twitch and YouTube, which we're actually watching, Tiger Ruby says, yay, chat monitors. That's right. I can read it. You can also use Twitter to use the hashtag #UpAtNoonLive. Or just Up at Noon. This is Up at Noon. We do this.
Just Up at Noon.
87 episodes in?
That's what it is.
Get it right?
Yeah.
Anyway, this week we are sponsored and presented by Cheez-It Grooves, and they've given us something very special, a studio audience. Do you want to cut to the studio audience?
Let's take a look. They're very excited to be here.
Oh, look, they're coming in. They got all that. They're going to have some snacks. They're late. You guys got here before the audience did. But
they're
look at
happy.
them.
Look at that.
Oh, hi
Man.
guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot for being. They don't care.
Well, they don't care that we're
about us.
doing. Anyway, yeah. So if you would like
great.
to win not only a 6-month supply of Cheez-It Grooves, but also a Nintendo Switch and a copy of Breath of the Wild, head to go.ign.com/CheezItGrooves and find out how to do that.
I've heard that game's pretty good.
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I've heard a few good things about it. I'm meaning to try it one of these years.
Yeah. You're a loon. You're crazy, man. Now, before we get into the bulk of the show, which we've been working on all week, a bunch of stuff just blew up really quickly recently, so I wanted to kind of blow through that just really quickly. First things first, one of the biggest pieces of news out of the week is Call of Duty's the game that's coming. The Call of Duty that's coming out this year is WW2. It's about World War II. If you couldn't figure that out, we got a bunch of coverage up on IGN. People seem like kind of interested in this on the basis that it's not future stuff anymore.
Judging it by the sheer amount of upvotes versus downvotes that the one got last year, I think they're already they're in good territory.
Yeah.
Marty Sleva has a preview up on IGN. You should read it. It's really, really awesome. How do you feel about this one?
More interested than usually, but you know, I feel like I say that every year, and then we just get kind of exhausted about hearing Call of Duty, and then you know, I play it for 20 minutes, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over here and go out, look at the climate tree outside. Anyway, in other news, Nintendo announced this morning that the Switch sold 2.74 million units. Here's a picture of one of those. So imagine 2.74 million of those in that little box that it comes in.
Yeah, stay tuned after the show. We're actually going to slide through this picture right here 2.74 million times.
Oh,
there's
look at
another
that.
one.
That's 2 of them.
That's
a start. We're getting there.
So 1 point, I don't know the math, more of that.
Yeah, yesterday was April 26th, which if you look at it in the certain way you arrange things, it's 426, which is the same number as LV-426, which is the planet from the movie Aliens. So they decided that that's a good day for Alien Day. It's a stretch. It's sort of like May the 4th be with you, but not quite as, doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
March 10th is Mario Day.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens now apparently. But that said, they did a bunch of cool Aliens announcements. NECA announced that they're doing not only this cool kind of Kenner-styled retro Vasquez action figure, but also
look behind you.
The new Xenomorph from Alien Covenant. So that's cool. And then Reebok did Aliens-themed sneakers. There's the Queen on the left and Power Loaders, which are just so cool.
Yeah, they're very steamy.
They're like $325 for 2 sets of shoes, and that's a matter if you can get them. Those come out in July, though, so if you're one of those like sneaker men, you can always pre-order those or whatever.
It's when they come with the most steam.
In other news, speaking of steam, there's a lot of steam in this photo from World War Z. It was announced first thing this morning that David Fincher is doing a World War Z sequel, or a Zequel, as I like to call it. That could be really cool. He's a great director, and yeah. In other news, speaking of dystopian futures, Amazon revealed the Echo Look, which is like an Amazon Echo, that little like hockey puck you talk into, except this one is like a camera that watches you in your home.
Yeah.
And then, just for reference, that's GLaDOS, another AI that watches you.
Also known as my friend spyware.
Yeah. What could go wrong? It's just one of those, like, maybe don't, you know, like in
Yeah.
horror movies where they're like, you don't go up the stairs. That's crazy. Maybe don't buy a camera specifically constantly online for your home.
It's also
just a bad idea.
One of the things I saw for it is that it will scan a picture of you and then try different outfits on you. Like, I don't think you need a robot to help you do that. I think you should you get an idea of what looks good in you, what feels good in you. Go to the store, try some clothes on, you know, and then dress like an idiot like we do.
Yeah, exactly. Get shirts that have pictures of little animals on them. Oh, they like it. They like our goof. Oh,
I don't think
maybe not.
I can't tell
Well,
with them.
That was a mixed reception. Speaking of receptions, we got reviews in for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They've kind of been floating out there. We pulled the Rotten Tomato kind of aggregate score. Friendly reminder, Rotten Tomatoes, not one person.
Not a man.
It's an average. It's a bunch of them.
Not a man named Artan Tomato. It's just a bunch of different people. Not one guy who doesn't like your favorite movie.
Robert Otten Tomatoes. His parents were divorced, and so they hyphenated.
Once again, hundreds of people. Not even working in unison, just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's called an aggregate.
Yeah, but as of Monday, it's certified fresh, 85%. That's probably going to fluctuate a bunch as more and more people see the movie.
What's the first one at?
I'll
pull that up.
I didn't check. Pull that up right now. But while you're doing that, I will pull some of these up. Here's what some of the critics had to say. Let's start with Time Out. The characters are still fun to be around, the one-liners are still sharp, and the soundtrack is, of course, terrific. You know, I think we go into Marvel movies almost expecting them to constantly one-up each other, but it sounds like this one's sort of par for the course, but in a really good way. Collider kind of echoed that. Ultimately, Volume 2 can't quite live up to the legacy of the first film, but it's got everything you could want from a big superhero spectacle, and then some.
Which it feels like that's going to be sort of the running theme here. Is that it's not really reinventing the wheel, but that's okay sometimes, right?
I mean, also the first one had the element of surprise.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knew who the hell the Guardians were. It came out of nowhere. We were like, this could suck. What's the last like flawless James Gunn movie you've seen? And
was the last talking raccoon movie you've seen?
Exactly.
You know?
I watch a lot of those on PBS, and I get Canadian television.
So the original Guardians of the Galaxy, released in 2014, has a 91%. These guys are not happy with our show. They have a 91. No, really not.
Come on, guys, we're not even done with the bit.
Haters is what they call you.
Okay.
A bunch of evil, angry haters.
Maybe when they have some more snacks, they'll feel better and enjoy our show.
So the original Guardians has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty damn awesome for comic book movies.
Yeah.
Especially released in the last few years. Those have kind of been all over the place.
Yeah. The Independent said, the second Guardians of the Galaxy is Marvel Studios near its best, spectacular, funny, and with a very likable self-mocking quality. That sounds great. Baby Groot's happy. That's good. Then, of course, Entertainment Weekly says, it's still a very good Marvel movie, at times a very good one. I said that wrong. But it's a come down for the dizzying highs of the first installment. The laughs are still there, but they're less involuntary. Second movies have the worst thing going against them, assuming the first movie was good, which is just, they've got to one-up it. And third movies, third movies frequently have it worst if the second one actually delivers, because then it's like, how do you top that? I mean...
What did they say about, but less involuntary laughs? Like, what does that mean? Like, you force yourself to laugh more?
Well, I think also, again, like, the first one, we didn't expect it to be funny. It looked like a weird, like, Star Wars knockoff with a raccoon in it. And then we went and saw it, and we're like, oh, this is super hilarious. Like, Chris Pratt's a really funny action star, and we weren't expecting a bunch of, like, 70s pop hits.
The original is funny within the first, 90 seconds, too.
Yeah.
Like, when that guy's mask comes, when that guy looks at him and he's like, who?
Yeah.
Like, that's great. You're all of a sudden like, these are a bunch of idiot characters.
Yeah,
Let's fall in love with them.
we didn't expect that. Anyway, Nerdist said the action's great, the performances are top-notch, and the soundtrack is killer. 2017's first Marvel movie is impressively one of the best sci-fi adventures you could hope to see. I defy anyone to watch this and not smile from beginning to end, which apparently a lot of the people who also write reviews of the movie were like, I will take your challenge, Nerdist. The Guardian says, it's fun, though Guardians of the Galaxy 2 doesn't have the same sense of weird urgency and point that the first film had.
You would think they had a title bias there.
Yeah, I put that in there kind of as a goof. Also, I have Time and Time Out. Who will win in this contest of... Come on, please.
It's not that bad.
All right, we're almost done. We'll get through it, and it's fine. All right.
This is why we don't do a live audience anymore. You guys suck.
All right. Anyway, IGN, our very own Terry Schwartz, said the second film is far denser and has a few more pacing and story problems than the first. Still, it's a very good movie with one of the most emotionally impactful endings of any Marvel Cinematic Universe story yet. That sounds pretty good. Also, like, the first movie was about getting the gang together, and like this kind of like, they were sort of introducing villains. They had like, they had carte blanche, and they're also not connected to the rest of the Marvel Universe. In this case, it's clear they're kind of building up to Infinity War, and like there's you've suddenly got a team. They've become the Guardians of the Galaxy. So giving them something to do is more of a challenge. Again, Time Magazine, not Time Out, regular Time. They say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 comes at us grinning from ear to ear for nearly 2.5 hours. It's high on its own supply. Oh no, Baby Groot is not like that.
That seems okay. It seems like it's having fun, right? Shouldn't movies have fun?
I like that Time Out was like, this was great. It was a good Time Out. And Time was like, time, no. It's too exciting, too much fun. It smiles a lot. It was too happy. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Hollywood Reporter says Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 plays like a second ride on a roller coaster that was a real kick the first time around, but feels very been there, done that now. Again, roller coasters are fun things that people enjoy going on. So, I mean, sometimes critics are maybe like, I don't know. What do you expect? Like, you want like an Oscar movie? It's got a talking raccoon and a little baby tree this time.
Yeah, I generally wonder what the criteria for reviewing something like this is for some of the, I don't know, a little more strict clientele.
We've got a review coming in right now from Twitch. Flintmex says, my Guardians Volume 2 review, it has Kurt Russell. Kurt out of 10. I agree with that.
Kurt out of 10?
Yeah.
How many Kurts?
It's a very Kurt review.
10?
Very short. Then, of course, Irish Times, I like this one. This one's just, like, brutal. At its worst, it comes across like a vulgar birthday party hosted by an indulgent billionaire for a hard-to-please stepchild.
Oh, my God. First of all, is Irish Times like a bottom-shelf liquor?
I was going to make that joke, too.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they've been drinking bottom-shelf. Like, they're surly over there.
Yeah.
Whatever, we need that.
There were too many miniature horses and way too many rides. Didn't like it. Almost had to hurl. All right, well, calm down.
Thanks, guys.
Anyway, I'm really excited.
Goofy movie. Too much goofy, too much movie.
Does anyone really need an extremely goofy movie?
Let's ask my friend Bartles and James.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm excited about this movie. I think that expectations are really important, especially with Marvel movies.
Sure.
You know, Guardians does have, again, like, I don't have any connection to those characters. I frequently just have, like, I come out of, like, X-Men movies just, like, ripping my hair out and just, like, shredding up my tickets. Like, the Bryan Singer did it again. He got it wrong. But, I don't know. Guardians has, like, a talking raccoon.
I think it's really important to note, as all of us collectively sort of careen towards the next wave of Marvel movies, these things are going to get weird. They're going to change. They're going to get darker. They're going to get stranger. I think the comfort origin stories are all out of the way. Now we're just in the thick of it. Like, now we're in that part in comic books where most people are like, they lost me. Like, that's the movies they're going to start making now. Like, when these guys start going to space, and, like, when Spider-Man shows up, and we're going to have, like, the 4th Iron Man movie, or the 7th time we see the Avengers, it's going to get weird. And if you're down for that, like, yeah, you're going to have an awesome couple years. But if not, like, man, go watch the old ones again.
Well, Cyborg Man on YouTube chimed in to say that he thought that your Irish Times joke was not funny, and he says, I read the Irish Times. Well, I read Rolling Stone. That doesn't mean that Rolling Rock isn't a brand of beer, okay?
Also,
so
there's
a joke.
We have a different type of humor here, us here in the Irish.
And see, our audience loves
Very
it.
different.
They think our goofs are hilarious, and let's cut to them right now and see how they're doing. They love it.
I think
the reviews are in. We have an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and they love us.
I think he's dead. Like,
Can we get somebody to check on him? Anyway.
He's
okay.
He's
alive. He's alive. Anyway.
Thanks for waking up to hate.
We had a really cool thing happen. We got the guys who made What Remains of Edith Finch.
That's right. Ian Dallas, the creative director of What Remains of Edith Finch, which is out now. We gave it a really good score. It's one of the most unique games I've seen probably in a very long time.
That doesn't work. Unique is not a quantifier. Either is unique or it's not. It's a unique game, though, right? Because there's not another game that's like it, right? Anyway, let's check out What Remains of Edith Finch with Ian Dallas.
Actually.
Hey guys, it's Brian Altano here with Ian Dallas, and we're playing What Remains of Edith Finch, which is really cool because you made it. You made this game.
Yeah, not single-handedly.
Really?
And not quickly.
You didn't do the entire thing just like pixel by pixel yourself, did all the music, did all
certain
the video.
pixels I can claim. Few, but...
So this is your company, Giant Sparrow.
Yeah.
This game is done now. It's out. You've been working on it for quite a long time.
Yeah, 4.5 years.
4.5 years. How much have you changed as a person since this game began?
Oh, more than I realize, I'm sure. Like, I feel like I've just been in a cave for the last 3 years. So, you know, the light of the sun, for example, hasn't changed me as much as it might have changed other people.
You point to me like one of the palest people in the world.
Well, yeah, we're inside of, you know, an anechoic
we do video
dark
game stuff for
chamber.
a living, so this is it. So the presentation of this game, how did it come together? It's based sort of around books, right?
Yeah, it's based on, well, I mean, the original idea was the sublime horror of nature. That was kind of like what we wanted to make a game about. And that led us to looking at this genre of fiction called weird fiction. People like H.P. Lovecraft, you know, and Edgar Allan Poe, and Neil Gaiman, and those guys, mostly guys writing about it, but a few women. And you know, like from the 1930s, sort of this old form of literature. And you know, that led us to doing short stories, because a lot of the stuff that I think works really well, like stories about the sublime horror of nature and about being in a universe that's stranger than you can possibly imagine, it's hard to keep that going.
Sure.
You know? So yeah, we based it on short stories, and then also just, you know, kind of the idea of stories in general, the way that stories, you know, kind of are inherently murky. Like you don't know for sure what happened. You're just getting, you know, Edith's version essentially. And you know, in the game, you're playing these short stories of the different family members and finding out how they died. But it's, you know, there's no point where you get the truth. It's just like Edith's version of it, of her experience of these stories.
Oh,
And
so
then
you're
sometimes
actually
stories inside stories.
So you're consuming these tales kind of secondhand through her, which is not necessarily the truth.
Yeah, I mean, she's narrating it for you, but she's, you know, deliberately constructing a story. Like, this is her impression of what happened. She doesn't have, like, a shaky VHS camera, you know, that is ostensibly documenting all of this.
So now, just sheerly on a technical level, this is sort of a tremendous leap over your last game, Judgment Swan, which I really, really enjoyed, but a game that kind of like reveled in its minimalism until it eventually showed you the world that you were kind of painting little by little. Was it difficult to jump into something like this, which is so much more sort of just gigantic in scope?
Yeah, and I would say, you know, we didn't jump into it. It's more like, you know, we got distracted and fell backwards into it. You know, it was something that we wanted, you know, we wanted the stories to have a sense of, you know, surrealism and abstraction, and to be evocative of the emotional states, you know, that were involved. So those ended up being kind of naturally less realistic. So to balance that, we made the house kind of increasingly more realistic. We also ended up hiring, midway through development, a lead artist who had come from Call of Duty.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not like necessarily the first person you would think, like, let me, you know, find someone for my, you know, bizarre indie title. But, you know, he came from a more realistic lighting background, and he was really interested in lighting in general. And I think that really comes through in the house. He did a fantastic job, you know, lighting these spaces in a way that feels kind of believable, but also, you know, just a hair beyond what you'd find in the natural world, which was helpful for creating this, you know, kind of mid-ground of like it feels, you know, real, but not, you know, dull, and not, you know, quite like it's all there.
Sure. And I think that's kind of like a running theme for this game, because the house is such a central character that, was it difficult to sort of find the balance between making something that flowed well as a video game house, but also felt like believably, you know, livable? Trying to find you know, a middle ground there was something that took a lot of iterations. And, you know, I think in some ways the places where we're most successful is just where we have a chance to have things accumulate. There's just a level of density that, you know, kind of magically turns it into something that feels, you know, that goes from being mundane to being slightly overwhelming. Sure.
You know, so the house, you know, particularly when you're looking around, you know, these spaces with like photographs on all the walls, you know, the hope is that it kind of goes from being a very civilized space into being something that's, you know, almost like looking at the bark of a tree, or, you know, an anthill, or something that, you know, just like there's too much life.
Right, right. Yeah, I think your brain starts immediately being like, well, this is a quaint house, and the lighting is warm. But then things start tipping me off that things aren't going well, such as like 100 cans of tuna.
Right.
Like, to me, that's immediately like, are we playing a Hoarders episode? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, and that, I can't remember if we just triggered the text there or not, but, you know, that the cans of salmon actually, you know, come from a story that you'll find, you know, in about an hour and a half from now. Edith's brother, Lewis, works at a cannery. So part of what we're doing is also, you know, setting up the stories that you're going to find much later in the game.
Oh, interesting. There are little breadcrumbs then.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Chunks of salmon.
So, like, right, yes, chunks of salmon dripping with possibility that we leave lying around the house. So these peepholes are another example of that, where, you know, like your very first couple minutes in the house, you know, you can find these little pinpricks of detail, you know, that give you clues about what each of these bedrooms, you know, are going to be like. And, you know, it serves kind of two functions where, one, we're sort of foreshadowing, because this game has got a lot in it. We want to tell people a little bit about what they're going to find so that when they find it, you know, it's something that feels like it's been prepared. And then we're also, at the same time, trying to destabilize them a little bit and, you know, make the house feel even more overwhelming than it otherwise would. Like, if you hit the options button, you know, you can bring up this pause menu.
Oh, wow.
And this shows you, like, all of the family members. You know, we're simultaneously trying to make it understandable that, okay, this is essentially a map, you know, of this family that you're going to be exploring in these, you know, generations. You know, but it also, at the same time that it makes it understandable, it makes it a little bit overwhelming as well.
Right.
Because you can see, wow, you know, I just played 2 stories and I have, you know, all these other stories left to go. And you start to think about, you know, the connections between all these stories as well, which you can see in the family tree.
Molly
Now,
always seemed like a girl I could
When you
imagine
were a
being
kid, did
friends
you
with.
live in like a weird
If she
house?
survived.
Like, did you have like a labyrinthian sort of artsy, bizarro house like this one is?
No, I wish. I lived in a fairly standard 2-story house. I think the strangest
spent a lot
thing
of time
that ever
playing Great
happened
Uncle Walter's
with
Farm.
regards to the house was one day,
think my
you know, I was
mom
probably
sometimes
like
regretted
in
not
middle
sealing it
school.
up.
You know, it was the summer. I was on break, and it was just me and my sister at home,
Always
and we
told
get a
me
knock
there
on
were
the
secret
door,
passages, but I
and
never
there's a
did.
man who, I think he had a shirt on, but he was big enough that it didn't cover all of him.
Right.
In hindsight, I realized he was completely drunk. I didn't know that at the time, but he was like in his kind of late 30s, early 40s, and he told me that he used to live in the house. That, like, I'd lived there, you know, for 12 years or whatever at that point. And yeah, he told me that the house had burned down, like the top of it, you know, had been rebuilt, and it kind of made sense afterwards. Like, oh, right, the first floor does look kind of different. But, you know, it's amazing that you can live in a house for so long and not know the history of it.
Right.
Because generally, like, you don't meet the people that lived there before you did, or the people, you know, before that. And even, you know, like 1 or 2 steps removed, a lot of that history gets lost.
It feels like this was an actual kid's room. So how did you guys sort of nail that?
Well, I think we had a lot of help from our level designer, Chris Bell, who you know, went through all of these rooms several times. You know, I think it generally took about 3 complete rewrites. You know, where you'd sort of keep developing it, and you get to a point where you're like, well, we're getting better, but it's not quite there yet. And you know, then we just have to start over. We say,
Right.
okay, we learned some things, but we'll start over. And so that helped a lot with the pathing. So one of the things that's really impressive to me now is looking at this house where things do feel lived in, but at the same time, there's kind of a natural flow that players have so that they don't get frustrated generally, they don't backtrack, they just feel like they're kind of moving through effortlessly. What we talk about internally is like falling down the rabbit hole,
Right.
where we want people to just kind of, you know, move through these stories. You know, and balancing those things was a lot of work, but one of the things that also ended up being really helpful was just having a lot of time to spend in these rooms in the process of making them. So, you know, each of these versions that we do, we'd keep a few things, and the rooms kind of develop this level of clutter and detail. Like if you turn left here, and you go back over, and you see like right here on the wall, there's this you know, mural, like a whole other pocket universe
Right.
inside. There was something that didn't come in until a couple months ago. You know, we've been developing this thing for 4.5 years, and Molly's bedroom was one of the first places we started. But it's just like these layers. And before that was just a brick wall. It was a fine brick wall.
Yep.
I think there might have been like a little drawing on it. But, you know, it takes a while to have all these ideas, to throw out all these terrible ones. So this is a point where people, you know, feel like the game has gone home, essentially, which I understand. It's a game about, you know, like a woman coming back to the house she grew up in the Pacific Northwest in
Yeah.
relatively modern times. Very similar. And then, you know, this is the stage where things change. And then people are like, oh, okay, this is not Gone Home at all.
At all.
Yeah. And I don't know how many people now are going to be, upset by that. A lot of people love Gone Home. Great game.
I think
this
when the
is
reviews,
doing some different things.
When the reviews for Gone Home came in, everyone said this is a perfect game because you never have to turn into a cat. So this is really going to upset a lot of people. No, this is great. I think that there is this weird sort of negative notion we've gotten over the last few years of like what a walking simulator is. And they're like, well, you don't even get a gun in that game. Well, I mean, maybe you don't need a gun in that game. Like most scenarios, hopefully, don't involve solutions that are gun driven.
Right.
So is it like, were you guys conscious of that while making this game, that like immediately some people put this thing in a box, but like, how do you get people to go, but hear us out? Like, there's a story here. There's a tale.
When you're hitting us 4.5 years into this, when we first started, Gone Home hadn't even been announced.
Right.
This is, I guess, Dear Esther was around. That was a thing. But I don't think it's something that we were very conscious of. The kind of genre of walking simulator as a thing didn't really exist. I mean, there's just Dear Esther really was the thing that you might have compared it to. But I think our goal the whole time had been like, how do we tell a story about the sublime?
Yeah.
And it wasn't really. We weren't thinking about what kind of box people would put it into. But that ended up being actually very helpful because, like I said, a lot of people come in with an expectation, and then we're able to, subvert that and give them this, genuine surprise, which is always a tricky thing to find.
Like I've seen this game a couple of times now. We've had different segments. You and I talked at PSX last year, and I haven't seen any of this stuff just yet. So like, this is the kind of thing where I was like, oh, this is a game where you walk around a house, and it's like, well, not always.
Right. No, this game is, similar to our last game, The Unfinished Swan. We're trying to change up what the game is pretty frequently so that players never get comfortable enough to feel like they understand what's going on and then they can start achieving other goals. I mean, they're always in this kind of beginner's mind of trying to figure out what's going on and then never getting comfortable enough, to start to try to do anything else, hopefully.
Did you guys experiment with the owl controls at all so that you could turn your head 360 degrees?
That did not come up.
Really?
No. I think originally, maybe it was more of a hawk or a bat. I'm trying to remember. I mean, this has gone through a lot of different versions.
Sure.
But, in this case, like, one of the things that worked really well was just taking away a lot of freedom where you used to be able to move like in 3 dimensions, essentially like Descent, or just like to be flying around. That's kind of the first idea you might have of what a bird simulator might be like. But because in this game you are an owl for maybe 2 minutes, depending on how good of an owl you are, it actually made a lot of sense for us to strip down the controls a bit there, so that you have this kind of joyful experience of a little bit of trying to figure it out and then success, and then you're moving on, and you're not stuck at this point where you're coming to grips with what it means to be an owl and how an owl moves, and you're starting to wonder if maybe you should be able to turn your head around or whatever it is that.
This is that was just a very surreal, bizarre, and brilliant segment. I like that we're having like a deep conversation about like what it's like to control an owl as a shark is rolling through a highway.
Yeah, there's a lot in this game.
Mm-hmm. So were you like at one point did you decide like I want to tell one story that involves Kit, but I want to see how many animals I can fit into?
I mean, this story was very unusual in that it started with just a central image of actually that shark 30 feet up in a forest falling to the ground.
Right.
And thinking like, wow, that would be a really odd moment. I don't know, that image just kind of came, like leaped out of my mind with nothing else attached to it. But it felt like it was somehow, in a not obvious way, related to this notion of, the sublime and things that are beautiful, but also like kind of hard to understand. And so yeah, in that case, like we just started with this strange image and then worked backwards. And I think the idea of a little girl being very hungry, came in somewhere, and then everything else just kind of fell into place.
I think that's incredible that I don't know if a lot of people really think about game design like that. And I think that a lot of people probably go, oh, I want this game where you play as a shark, and then immediately you're like, well, the whole thing's underwater, right?
Yeah.
And then like that goes in that box. But for you to come in and be like, well, we're making this game that's about these like sort of microcosmic stories, but what if there was also like a shark that fell from the trees, and then you figure out a way to weave it in, I think is pretty incredible, because like, why not, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of games are much more mechanics driven and sort of convention based, where they're more of a dialogue with the games that came before them, and in this case, we're more about like just a feeling. And that feeling can take a lot of different forms. If you're making a cover-based shooter, there's a more limited set of forms that is going to take.
Yeah.
For better or worse. I mean, I think there are a lot of advantages that you get with something that players are familiar with. They can kind of jump over this, potential frustration with the controls and then get on to the rest of the game. But for us, that's where we're interested in, keeping players in that place of unknown.
What's that feeling like to just be like, I worked on a game for 4.5 years, it's out, everyone can play it? Is it just like euphoric? Like, it feels surreal. Like, I've put out albums, that's the closest I've come, but like, it's that sort of like release of like, it's done, it's out there. Like, how does that feel?
Well, I think for me, it's primarily relief that we didn't crash the plane. That there were a lot of late nights and a lot of crazy ideas, a lot of really bad ideas. But we were able to winnow things down into something that everyone was happy with. And I think when I look around, I also just see, like if you turn to the right there, like that. The left. Yes, right, straight. Yeah, so that whistle there. If you turn right again, look down. Yeah, so that's a whistle. If you get close to it and use the zoom, you can kind of see some details to it. It's incredibly intricate. That was originally going to be hanging on Molly's bed, and you would be able to pick it up and then blow through it. And I think Ben Esposito, the designer who we had, doing these little quick prototypes, did a version where you could like press the triggers and kind of control your breath, and it was going to be this really neat sound interaction. And that didn't happen, obviously, for a very good reason. I think we just wanted to put our time elsewhere, and we realized, doing a custom animation of that is going to be a whole lot of work that is better spent elsewhere, and we already have plenty of things in Molly's bedroom, to occupy players.
Is it hard to rein in those little diagonals and deviations? Because I mean, it seems like when you're making a game, you could just all of a sudden be like, we spent 6 months on the owl whistle, and I don't know if it's working.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely, as a creative director, like the nightmare that you have led all of these people into a dead end, and wasted all of their time, and been ambushed, by the forces of, shipping. But at the same time, there are places where you need to spend that, and things suck for a long, long time, and then there's a moment when it comes together. Often when the audio comes in, and you're like, oh right, audio is the thing that makes this, feel responsive.
Right.
Why didn't I do that? And then you're like, oh yeah, that happened the last time too. Yeah. It's a lesson that's just hard to learn. There's a perverse joy in people breezing through something that you spent so much time on.
Yep.
Because everybody does play it differently, and it's just kind of amazing. Like, oh yeah, this whole world. Like, because it also, I think, contributes to feeling like after you finish this game, you feel like, wow, there's so many things that I probably missed, and probably you did. But a lot of things actually you would have seen, because again, Chris Bell, our level designer, is very good at his job, and put things in just the right places so that people are going to see it. But once you get a level of density, there's this feeling of missing out that is like actually kind of a nice feeling at the end of this. That it's a world that feels a little bit larger and stranger than you can come to grips with, at least in one playthrough.
So Ian, this game is out now. Where can people play it?
They can play it on Steam or on PlayStation 4.
Awesome. Congrats on the launch. Congrats on 4.5 years of hard work, culminating into something so original and beautiful and cool.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming Up at Noon. It's good to see you again, man.
My pleasure. Good to see you. We'll have to do this again in 4.5 years.
I was going to say it. You said it. Hopefully sooner, but take your time, man.
These things are very hard.
Thank you so much for coming by, and thank you guys for watching.
And welcome back. Here we
did
are
it!
once again. We did it. That looks like a cool game.
Oh yeah, man, that is a gorgeous, really cool, really special game.
That's definitely one of those ones I was kind of like not really wanting to watch too closely because I want to experience it for myself.
I've been calling it one of the most unique games.
Yeah, it definitely looks like one of the most unique games I've ever seen. Anyway, once again, our sponsor this month, week, whatever, is Cheez-It Groove. They are giving away a 6-month supply of Cheez-It Grooves, as well as a Nintendo Switch and a copy of Breath of the Wild. To win that, go to go.ign.com/CheezItGrooves. The go is very important there because it lets the computer know that you want to go to that website.
That's it.
And that's how computers work. And on that note, we want to play a nice cheesy level of Mario Kart 8, which is coming out this week.
So Cheez-It Grooves are made of cheese. We started thinking about like some of our favorite cheese levels in games, which you'd be shocked. There's actually a surprising amount of them. We almost put together a list, but it was almost too much cheese.
Yeah, there's
to
like
handle.
Worms World Party. There's, I mean, I guess you could sort of count if you like fill an entire room with cheese wheels in Skyrim. That's sort of a cheese level.
So a very long time ago, Mario Kart came out for the Game Boy Advance. I bought it on day one. I actually called the GameStop like 5 days in a row being like, do you have it? Do you have it? And they didn't yet. And I got my friend to pick up the phone and call them. And he was like, they were like, we know it's the same guy. That game had a cheese level in it, which they've painstakingly recreated in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You might have played it on Wii U. We're playing it on Switch right now. So let's jump in there. We got some attire.
Yeah, it's actually really important if you're being little Italian elves wearing the hats. You gotta wear headgear to just get in there. There we go.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Is this our first time playing this level together?
It is. Yeah.
All right, we're
so
gonna do
you might kick my ass.
Let's go for it.
All right.
So we're playing with Joy-Cons split off on the side, and we put those little attachments on them so you can power slide easier.
You got the good one.
What's the good one?
You got the good one where the joystick is a little bit lower. Ooh, cheese!
That rockin' jam!
Big old canyons of fromage.
Look at all that formaggio.
All right.
I want to eat this whole level.
Come on.
Those toads live here.
Hey!
That's odd.
Get out of my way, you weird turtle. Hey.
So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is out tomorrow. I already got hit with a red shell. This is going to be hard to do without cursing. I'll be totally honest with you.
Yes, it is.
Cursing is definitely a thing I like to do during this game.
You know, they originally called it Mario Cuss. That was the working title for the game.
Mario Kart.
Yeah. So is there like a story behind this game, or why are these like all these little Italian men and turtles all racing the cars, huh?
You tell me. Anything you... Oh, come on!
Damn it! Come on. Hey.
Dude, being like 5th, 4th, or 3rd in this game is so difficult. You're just constantly getting hit from both sides.
I don't know if I agree with some of the physics in this. I feel like if you rammed just whatever that, like a teenage squid from the back, like it'd probably get out of your way.
You never know. I mean, you can't tell until you try it in real life.
Damn it! Come on.
Look at all this delicious cheese.
If I was racing across this landscape, I'd get out of my small automobile and probably eat some of the ground. And that's why they rejected me from NASA on account of I wanted to eat the moon.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
We're playing on 100cc. I know some of you are like, that's for babies. Well, guess what? We're babies.
It's a game for babies. Look at this. It's little tiny cars. It's not Forza.
Forza's kind of for babies.
Yeah, they added a Hot Wheels DLC, which is for babies.
The babies love Hot Wheels.
Nice Hot Wheel.
Baby's first Hot Wheel. How you doing back there?
Good ghost.
You seem to be doing okay.
Getting my ass kicked.
I haven't played,
dude, I haven't even. Come on. What? Yeah, I haven't played this level before. I've played this for a second, so you've been playing. Have you been playing what, like a Pro Controller at home?
I mostly play Pro Controller. I'll play like this. I'll play a little bit of everything. I do with the Joy-Con grip. Everything but that charging grip, because I'm not about that charge grip lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's just not a good thing to have. Oh, get out of here, you son of a red shell!
I think that's a George R.R. Martin book.
Son of a red shell?
Yeah.
That's actually Tom Clancy. Are you collecting coins? That's your problem, Max.
I'm trying to get the coins. I'm trying to steer with my large fingers.
Oh, come on with the
funny nubbins.
Like I said, very, very difficult to not curse.
Yes, that's true. It's hard to not curse.
I'm on the 3rd lap, and I just got passed by this dude. Oh! Oof. Oh! Oh, this is beautiful.
Come on.
This is beautiful.
Fart in a
Bringing
hat.
it home. Come on. Yes. No, no, the bomb! Oh, no, you...
Oh, are we playing a baby mode? I'm trying to go up the ramp.
Are you kidding me? Who threw that bomb at the end? I will fight you. So this game, it really brings the best out of people.
We're in 9th. We're playing, we got the camera covering up. 10th? Come on, why'd you even show me that?
It is, like, it's very, very difficult to not
11th place.
To not just say all the worst words.
And I have a hand cramp, so that's good.
Oh, you got beat by Cat Peach.
Are we even allowed to say Cat Peach on this show?
I think we can. Yeah.
Anyway.
That was intense.
Good job.
How do you feel?
I'm all right. I think I got screwed up by this green hat. I don't wear a lot of green hats.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that must be it.
But you can wear a green hat
Seriously.
when you go buy this game, because we found out about something very cool this week. Man, thank you so much to Cheez It Grooves for letting us play that cheese level and keeping me, just really teaching me about temper is the thing I'm learning more about.
You've learned to be a much kinder, more patient man. How's the audience doing? Let's see what they made of this. All right.
Hey, man, like, come on. Really?
I mean,
I thought it was exciting.
well, it looks like that cheese level made him hungry. Mm-hmm. What? Where did we find these people?
Hey, what the?
That's Mike! He posts this to YouTube. Mike! Quit it!
I know him. We're friends with him. We're not even getting that, like, friend bump.
I think they just made them, I think they made them come in.
Anyway, if you're going to buy Mario Kart 8, you can buy it digitally or you can buy it in a store. But a really cool store you can do that is Target. Not to plug Target, but Target's doing something really cool this week. 650 Target stores nationwide are becoming Mario Kart themed. So what does that mean exactly? It means that
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be a store without carts. But what if those carts were Mario Karts?
Yeah.
Get it?
So this is weird. This is the first time Target has ever actually reskinned their shopping carts. So it took a little twist of the arm and a couple of blue shells from Nintendo to do this. But you can actually get in these things and push each other around the store. Highly dangerous. I recommend not doing that.
That's just gonna turn the whole store into like a Mega 64 video. That's a terrible
Jackass.
idea. They sell bananas there. Like, people are gonna make a mess.
Exactly. That's my plan.
Yeah.
There's also now things. I didn't know this word. I learned a new word today. It's called bollard.
I don't like that word at
Yeah,
all.
bollard are these giant stone balls that live outside of a Target.
That sounds like a British band from the 70s. I
Yep.
don't like it at all.
Never mind the bollards. So this actually stops cars from crashing into them, and they skin them with these giant Mario and Luigi faces, which is wonderful.
I think when Pokemon Go was blowing up, people were repainting these to look like Pokeballs.
That's right. Yeah, they tried that for that too. So
I
this
don't think
is really
that was
interesting.
Nintendo sanctioned. In this case, they were like, let's have. I feel like they should have done Chomp Chomps, but I guess those are like they're not as iconic as.
I think they scare people away.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we shouldn't go in Target. There's large spherical dogs outside.
Yeah. Last but not least, when you walk through the doors, the motion-triggered sound effects start going off, and you cross a finish line, which starts making racing noises and the countdown sound. So that's pretty awesome. I actually want to go in a store and do this right now. So I actually mocked up a little bit of wonder of what this would look like if we did this in real life with a bunch of like actual animals and wreckage and fire. So let's take a look.
All right.
Yeah,
Why did they give you Photoshop?
because of this.
I guess you did a good job with the boo. You got like the opacity all down.
I wanted to put a woman in a bicycle upside down on a ceiling while a man underneath walks by like there's no big deal.
I feel like we're going to see a rise in teenagers getting kicked out of Target this month on account of this promotion. Because it's like, you've got Mario Karts. Like, what is this? This isn't like a game about driving safely. This is a game about like shooting ghosts and eating mushrooms and driving into stuff. Like, it's going to get messy. People are going to try to drift the carts.
Yeah, I'm excited this game's out. You know, like a lot of people are like, why would you buy this again? I mean, it's portable now, right? Like that's a big thing. Like Max and I have a flight across the country next week for a cool video shoot. We're both going to sit there on an airplane and play Mario Kart 8 together on our own screens. Like, that's kind of amazing.
That's a great time.
So maybe you're more of a PlayStation gamer. I know we are sometimes. We host a show called Podcast Beyond. Big fans of PlayStation exclusives and all the wonderful characters that come with them. Now, something that's been happening that's really cool for the last few years is we've been wanting more merchandise on the PlayStation side. We usually see it with Nintendo, not so much with PlayStation. we have a little exclusive to show off here. These are called stubbins.
These are awesome,
This
yeah.
is Alloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. We've got Sweet Tooth over here from Twisted Metal. We've got Clank, everyone's favorite robot. And Max's favorite animal in the world, the raccoon.
Yeah, little Sly Cooper. I
Little
like
cuties
him.
over
He's
here.
great.
So these are available May 31st. This is the second season of these two, the second set.
Yeah, we've had a few more. I think we talked about the first wave on the show.
Yeah.
Here's what they look like. I love that they'll have like the cutesy stuff. You know, you get like the raccoons and the rabid dogs. But then you also are like, yeah, here's Sweet Tooth, the murderous clown, or as
With
we got
boxer shorts on. I love them.
In the first line, we got the Bloodborne man.
Yeah.
with the funny hat with the torn up on the sides.
Yeah, so Nathan Drake, obviously he's in a bunch of T and M rated games. He gets into some stuff. You know, Parappa the Rapper I think drops a few bad words here and there. But yeah, the Bloodborne guy literally covered in blood. But you can buy these now. That's the first set, and you can pre-order the second set. So these go for about $13 each. If you can find them, so they're available right now on the PlayStation Gear Store, which is a store I didn't really know about, but you can pre-order them now. Get on them fast because I think these will go quickly. And you don't really get to see a lot of sort of soft, cutesy versions of your favorite PlayStation characters like this.
Yeah, I dig these. I feel like they also go really well if you got a bunch of little anime plushies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Also,
these
if
will
you're
fit right
a
in.
hardcore Twisted Metal fan, I mean, this is probably the most merch you're going to get out of that game in 2017. They don't really do a whole lot with
totally.
it.
Same with the Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah.
And Clank's got this little antenna on him. I really love these. So yeah, they're called the Stubbins. You can find all about them right here on Twitter.com/the_Stubbins, Instagram.com/thestubbins, Facebook.com/thestubbins, and gear.playstation.com/n-us.
You just Google the Stubbins. That probably is a good way to do it. You know?
That's right.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, $13 each. Put a bunch of them on your desk. You want these things because they're
Yeah.
adorable.
Or you can head over to my DeviantArt page and see more stuff like this.
I really like. Oh, that's good. Are you making them kiss? We can make them kiss. I like how they did her hair, by the way. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Here we go. So yeah, merchandise. That's one way of handling
The
it.
3 rules of real estate.
But maybe you've got a ton of money lying around, and buying a couple of sort of smaller scale things is not really your jam. You want something really expensive. Max, what do we have today?
Well, here's something good. So Guardians 2 is coming out soon, and everyone loves Groot. There's Baby Groot going around. There was a weird Uber promotion going around where I think they were bringing in select cities just random Groot toys to people, and there's obviously plushies, and you got did we really have a bunch of the same one?
We actually got a couple delivered to the
funny
office.
little baby Groot.
So yeah, Uber was actually delivering Groots to the office.
I like this. What is? Has he got a hot dog? What is? Oh, that's actually someone's keychain is attached to this. His little eggs. Anyway, a lot of different Groot toys you could get. Hot Toys, who we talk about all the time on the show, they do just crazy high-end replicas and collectibles. Normally they do 1/6 scale figures of just a human person shrunk down to be 12 inches tall. In this case, Baby Groot is about that tall in the movie, so they just made a life-size Baby Groot, which is about the size of a little baby. And here's what it looks like. I think this will run you probably, do we have the price on this? I think it's probably about $200 or $300. But he's got clothes. I think it's weird to be Groot didn't wear clothes in the first movie, but now he's wearing clothes, so now it's sort of weird when he's not wearing clothes. You know?
Yeah.
That kind of makes me just, I don't know how I feel about that.
He looks so damn snuggable in that thing. Doesn't he just look like the most comfiest dude? Just a Saturday.
I want to wear that. I want to wear one of those weird little just a burlap sack with zipper. It looks like
a onesie with
if you could
huge
just
zippers
wear
on
a
it.
messenger bag, that looks cozy as hell.
He's 10% sack boy here.
Yeah, there's definitely some sack. He kind of looks like a Funko Pop, but he's got if you left it in the wilderness for a while and it was forced to fend for itself. But yeah, Baby Groot has got all these. He's super articulated. You can pose him in a bunch of ways. He's got the tendrils, so he can kill people.
He can be scary.
Yeah. And then there's this pose, which I don't like one bit. I feel like the next time somebody's hey, if they're trying to solicit you for nudes, you should just send them that. Be yeah, I like to stretch out now and then. I'm a little log boy.
Why did it get so weird? What? Okay, that's odd.
Look at those funny feet.
Yeah.
Somebody's into it.
Okay.
Yep.
There's that picture again.
We can keep showing that for a while.
Can we show that picture one more time?
You want to see it one more time?
Let's take a look at that picture. There we go. One more time.
Are you trying to get them to put your face over the Groot face or
No,
something? Are you
I'm
hoping
not.
they're going to do
I'm
that?
just saying it looks very relaxing, and I'm very happy he's there having a really good time. I don't think they have a camera for me to do that today.
All right.
We talked about Bloodborne a little bit earlier. We showed you the Bloodborne Stubbin, which you can get for $13. It's cute and adorable, but once again, We want to sort of help people with the entire breadth of their wallet.
Yeah, we understand that some of you just like, railroad barons out there, after you've opened coal mines and, bought like beautiful estates in the North Shore, maybe you want to spend money on something else. Well, good news, because there's a Bloodborne statue that's $600.
Yeah. We've noticed that we've had at least 100 or so lottery winners in our comments recently. So let's appeal to them for a second.
So this is let's see. This is Lady Maria of the Astral Tower. She's from the Old Hunters DLC, I think. Sideshow Toy is distributing this. This is made by Prime One Studio. But basically, Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower, I'm a big fan of Bloodborne, so I of course know that she was a citizen of Canehurst and is directly related to Queen Annalise. However, she was one of the first hunters to join the nightly hunt, studying under Gurman, the first hunter, and despite being a citizen of Canehurst who relished in their extravagant uses of blood, she favored Rikuyo, who required dexterity and skill rather than blood to wield effectively. And at an unknown point in time, Maria forfeited her beloved weapon, tossing it down a well when she could stomach it no longer, and disappeared mysteriously into the hunter's nightmare. Now, Maria resides in the Astral Clock Tower, looking after the the disfigured patients and all them that live there, and guarding the the secret of the nightmare. Everyone, of course, who plays the Old Hunters know what I'm talking about. It's at the entrance to the fishing hamlet where, of course, the Orphan of Kos can be found, and she sits in this chair, as we see with the statue, and she's seemingly lifeless. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, until the hunter tries to touch her. I'm just kidding. I have no idea what any of that means. I was just reading from a press release.
You wussed out on that game super hard. I was like, wow.
That guy hit me with a broom. I want to go home.
Somebody read the War and Peace Cliff Notes before school.
Yeah. But no, here's some closer looks at these. This is gorgeous. This thing's about 20 inches tall. They didn't say how much it weighs. I would guess probably 15 pounds. It's probably like polystone or resin. But I love it, just like this lady just sitting in a chair.
You know what's great about that chair? It comes with that little table. You can put little sandwiches on there and really just spice it up, make it look fun. Give her a little martini glasses.
I like you could totally mod this and set her up to be just like a total just like a gamer, and just put snacks and sodas and stuff there. Just leave a bunch of old socks and crap on the floor, and just be like, wow, Lady Maria's really let herself go. It's nasty. She does come with this, which, of course, as all Bloodborne fans know, is the portrait of Miriam Granderlurgan after being hurled down the well of Kern Fanas.
Do you not have a Wikipedia page?
I have no idea what that picture frame is.
You can put anything you want in there, though.
You could put a little picture of Sly Cooper and be like, oh, my Sony fan fiction's coming true. That woman loved a raccoon. But then if you get it from Slideshow, you get an exclusive die-cast goblet that you can fill with all kinds of stuff. Or just put on the little table, whatever.
I think you should put peanut M&Ms in there. It'll look funny.
It's always weird. Oh, hey, look at that. You can have a little Groot goblet. No, I think it's always so funny when they have
a gooblet.
A gooblet. When they have just the craziest, highest end collectibles, and then they're like, but if you buy it from one retailer, you get an extra shoe. And you're like, what? What's going on there? That's strange. I think you have a Bib Fortuna from Sideshow, and they had the exclusive variant that comes with one of those frogs that Jabba eats. And
it doesn't make any sense. It comes with somebody else's food. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like if Lando came with Yoda's Larabar.
Larabar? It's a Lunabar, man. You crazy person.
No, I'm calling it a Larabar. Those are good too. Don't you know what a Larabar is?
Yeah, I don't think they're canon though. I think they took those. That's a Legends.
Lunabars aren't canon either.
All right. Anyway, Darth Boy says, well, Brian reads Max can't. I can read. I read that whole thing from the Bloodborne statue. I read that off the screen.
That's a Larabar. That's a picture of it. It's right there. Numerous photos of Larabars.
Get that out of here. Anyway, so here's the thing we talk about sometimes, Konami. Now, Konami's a company.
Ooh, he said a bad word.
Yeah, don't get mad at me, please. We're just reading the news.
Yep.
Konami kind of pissed off a lot of people when they sort of had their outs with Kojima, and then there was going to be a new Silent Hill game, and then it ended, and they're usually known for throwing a bunch of DLC and stuff, and they're like, hey, great news, everybody, there's a new Metal Gear game coming out. It's a pachinko machine, and then they just go and they dive in their pile of money. So they just put out a bunch of stuff for Super Bomberman R, which weirdly enough is cool.
Yeah, so Super Bomberman R was one of their first times in a long time that they kind of reached into their sort of treasure chest of classic franchises. We haven't really seen a lot from a lot of their most beloved stuff. I mean, honestly, since Metal Gear, they haven't been the best at fan service.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making Metal Gear Solid Survive, which is like, that could go either way.
Yeah,
who knows?
totally.
But in terms of like a bunch of other classics like Gradius, Silent Hills, and Bomberman, and most importantly, my personal favorite, Castlevania, we haven't heard anything in a very long time. But Bomberman launched on the Switch. It was okay, it was pretty good. It had a lot of good ideas in it. It had a couple of problems, but for the most part, like, it's kind of a return to form for the franchise. They just updated it recently. It's now at 60 frames per second. They added a bunch of new multiplayer maps. It's sort of taking a hit in resolution, but the controls are better, and
That kind of makes sense, though. I feel like a game that's all about like hectic, like twitchy stuff, like the frame rate's more important than getting, like, it's Bomberman. He doesn't have fingers. What are you gonna do with it in 1080p? It doesn't really.
But the coolest part of this sort of good guy Konami return to form is that they are putting out free DLC. Konami is putting out free DLC. That's a sentence I really just said in 2017.
Real weird. And it's free DLC based on classic franchises.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the concept art that'll go into this. These will be for free in Super Bomberman R. We've got Vic Viper from Gradius. We've got Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, which is just
awesome.
Look at that belly with the guts pop out.
Look at those funny pants.
This is gross.
And then,
and most importantly, Simon Belmont, which is
awesome.
just the cutest thing I've ever seen. Like, I really want that like on a T-shirt.
Let's see. Mighty Giro on Twitch says, did they cancel the Metal Gear Online? I don't know if they did.
Yeah, I'm not
did
sure about that.
I know they canceled the last one. I think the regular one's still going.
Yeah.
I keep like logging in there and just being like, it'll be like, you've got 7,000 new updates. And I'm like, I don't want to open all these things.
So these character skins are coming to Super Bomberman R pretty soon, hopefully very soon, because I can't wait to try Simon Belmont. But what I want to ask you, Max, is do you think this is like baby steps into them being like, hey, that's right, people love our classic stuff. Super Bomberman R is one of the best-selling games in the franchise all of a sudden. Right place at the right time.
Well, I mean, it was
Switch
one of the
launch.
4 launch games for Switch.
Yeah,
That
no,
helps.
totally.
That goes a long way.
But I mean, Bloodstain's happening from the Igarashi who worked on Castlevania. Can they reach into the vaults, maybe hire some younger people to like make a new Castlevania, make a new Gradius?
That'd be really cool. I know that, what was it? It was the Princes of Darkness or whatever. It was the one that was like a sort of third-person action Castlevania that was like almost doing its own thing. A lot of people love that, but they're like, it's not sort of really what we want from Castlevania proper.
Yeah.
I think they made a lot of enemies with what happened with Silent Hills and Metal Gear, but like again, they do have like all these like legacy characters. I'd kind of love if they were like, hey, the first 5 Metal Gear games are pretty perfect. Like, let's remake them using that beautiful engine that the creator made. And
Dude,
like,
that'd be awesome. Or like hit up like Yacht Club Games or Way Forward and be like, hey, here's the Castlevania license. Like, make a new 2D Castlevania. Like, there was a couple years there where we got a 2D Castlevania every other year, and it was glorious. And then it just stopped.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what Metal Gear Survive looks like what happens with that. I don't know if I'll love it or hate it or whatever. It's mechanics of one of my favorite games ever made.
Totally.
But then it's like co-op and survival, and I'm like, that's curious, and there's no snakes or big bosses or Vulcan Ravens or anything.
Yeah,
in
I'm
there.
excited to do some Let's Plays with you at the very least. Like, that'll be fun.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just us. Let's see what our audience thinks of Konami.
I'm sure they love everything we've been doing to...
I mean,
Was he just, why are they all, what?
she probably had a meeting or something.
They're leaving? Just straight up walking out.
Well, I mean, it is almost that time. It's almost time for us to wrap things up. Well, Cheez It Grooves was nice enough to provide us with the audience. The audience sort of paid attention, I guess. So, there's that. What have you got? You've got a new show coming up. Or
That's right. The 10th episode of Linked Together is today. I hope you like it. We didn't accomplish a ton. Really just about getting through some stuff together. So that goes up today, 3 p.m. Pacific time on IGN and YouTube. So go check that out. Yeah. We put up a brand new episode of Podcast Beyond yesterday.
Yeah, we talked a bunch about a lot of big stuff. We're hitting that point again where there's actually new games and stuff to talk about. So we talked about Call of Duty and What Remains of Edith Finch and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So go check that out. That's also on youtube.com/IGN or IGN Beyond, and then look around for look under the covers.
And next week we are doing the show on May the 4th.
Yeah.
So expect a lot of Star Wars stuff. We're gonna make that a very Star Warsy show, plus lots of other stuff too. So thank you guys so much for watching today, Max. We did it. This is a fun hour.
The show's over. We're gonna go have snacks.
Oh yeah, we get to eat snacks now. Yes.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Plays Live. I'm your host, James Duggan, joined by Mitch Saltzman. We're here playing Dawn of War 3 on launch day. Very exciting. And we're going to be checking out the units straight away. Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, so for those of you who are unfamiliar with Warhammer 40k, Dawn of War 3 is an RTS, and there's 3 factions. We got the Space Marines, we got the Orks, spelled with a K, and we have, oh, hold on, let's just see the Orks there, and then we have the Eldar. And yeah, so let's just jump into this. So the interesting thing I think about Dawn of War 3 is that there are elite units, kind of similar to how there were heroes in Warcraft 3.
Sure.
And you gain these elite units over the course of the game by getting a resource called elite points. And the only way to really get those points, they're not spent on anything else. All they do is they summon one of your 3 elite heroes right here. Each of them has a different cost. I can't even see what that costs. I think that's 4.
He's 4. That guy's 2. That one's
and
10.
that one's 10. So obviously
they're the really big units. And you can actually change these out.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of like a loadout, which is interesting.
Well, they're locked. So
Sure.
we basically just started on this account. So we had 500 skulls. I'll show you what I spent some skulls on after this. But yeah, each of these locked elites come with their own cost. This guy costs 200 skulls, and he costs, once again, 4 elite points.
And this is much more than was available in the open beta, which actually just finished. In Dawn of War 2, you started with kind of your hero, and it played a lot more like a, I don't want to say MOBA, but it certainly wasn't a conventional RTS in the sense that you're building all these bases. Dawn of War 3 is kind of going back to that route while trying to maintain that hero unit action-oriented sense. There are not things like mining minerals. Instead, you control and contest these points. But let's jump right into it.
Sure.
Take us into a match. For those of you at home who are watching, you can tweet at us with the hashtag IGNPlaysLive. You can also go into the Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook chats. I'll be monitoring all 3. If you have any questions about the game, if you're unsure about whether you want to jump in at this point, let me know what those questions are, and we'll do our very best to answer.
Sure. And just for this first little thing of showing you guys what this game is all about, we're going to jump into a match against a casual AI, and we're going to use some Space Marines. Show off some of the unique things about Space Marines compared to the other factions, because there are some pretty substantial differences in each of the factions, but also a bunch of similarities.
What's up, Cyborg Man in the chat?
What's up?
Good to see you, man. He's here almost every day.
You can always rely on Cyborg Man.
Yep, always there. So is this just a casual CPU opponent?
Yeah.
Kind of get your bearings.
So we should talk about this mode also. So basically, the goal of every map is to get to and destroy their power core. But in order to do that, you first have to destroy the shield generator. Then once you get that, the turret becomes vulnerable, and then finally you'll be able to take on the power core. But we're gonna jump right into this. One of the things that will immediately stand out is that there's no resources to collect. So what we're going to do is we're going to send our starting guys to each of these resource points and kind of lock them down. This one in the middle here is especially notable because it gets you elite points. And if you can get that, you can get your elite characters much faster and have a significant advantage in the battle.
And of course, this is a conventional RTS in the sense that you have to keep track of your macro rotation, as well as micro your units around. You have one of your servitors over there capturing a point, which I'm not sure if is standard practice, but it seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Since the servitors aren't really doing too much aside from base building, they kind of sit around. You can see that little ring around that your stronghold right there. That is where you can bring units back and resupply them. But that's also pretty micro heavy. So for instance, if you have a unit of tactical marines that 2 people die in that squad, you bring them back, you have to hit resupply twice, and they'll kind of go back to full strength.
Yep. And these little areas right here, this is the shield generator, so I'm trying to protect that. Right now I'm going to check out and see if anything is going on over here in this middle resource point. I'm going to try to capture it. If not, and also, so once you capture a resource point, you actually have options here. You can either choose to spec into more of your requisitions, which is basically, that's the gold of Dawn of War 3. It allows you to buy pretty much most infantry units, or you can spec into power, which is something that more advanced units will demand.
You can also do both.
Yeah, and you can also just do a general, I want both of them.
And so you're getting elite units right there, or elite points rather, in the center.
Yep.
And what's interesting is that is the only spawning point for those elite units. Here comes the fight. Attack Marines versus Attack Marines.
Let's see, I don't think I have anything over here.
So in a multiplayer match, like that point in particular is extremely crucial because it gives you a really big advantage for bringing in some of your elite units.
Sure. Let's see. Let's put one of those down. Gonna have my guys over here coming from behind.
Cyborg Man says StarCraft 2 is his favorite RTS. Yeah, RTSs in general have kind of experienced a bit of a lull in popularity recently, which is a reason why I was very excited for this to come out. It's something that...
Cowards.
It's really difficult to find, I think, a balance between accessibility and depth in an RTS because the base gameplay is so demanding. Ooh, look at you deploying. So where... Mitch, let me ask you, where can you deploy your structures?
Literally anywhere.
Even if I could deploy...
Well, that's not true. You can't... I don't think you can deploy in enemy-controlled territory. I don't think you can deploy... Like, there's certain areas you can't... You know, the certain terrain, obviously, you can't put stuff on. But most areas, you can pretty much... Anywhere you have sight, you can put stuff down on.
I think it also has to do with proximity to the outposts. But I could be mistaken.
I don't think so, actually. I'm not sure. I mean, someone in the chat who has played more than us, please let us know. We are by no means Dawn of War 3 experts.
So we had a question from, not sure who it was, but asking us to compare this to something. I don't think it's an unfair comparison to compare it to Warcraft 3.
No, I think that's a very fair comparison.
I think the resource system is very different in this.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair comparison.
A little bit more short game oriented, a little bit more objective oriented, getting you in there and kind of coercing you to interact with your enemy, which can be a very good thing.
Yeah. Interesting thing about this game, it deals with squads instead of individual units for the most part. So, as you see, this unit right here, or this squad, as it takes damage, rather than this being all these units individually, this is a squad. As it takes damage, or units in the squad will die out.
Sure. And you have to go back to base to resupply those. Though, if you have a hero unit, which now you have enough, you have 2 points, but I would probably wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait a
4-point guy.
There is a restriction on where you can, or for most elite units, there is a restriction on where you can drop them.
Sure. And the developer of this game, Relic, also created Company of Heroes 2.
Yep.
Which is a very unique RTS, and something that Dawn of War 2 kind of adhered to, a little bit closer to, it was a divisive decision, for sure.
You know what?
A lot of fans of the original Dawn of War, for sure.
Bring down our elite. And you guys, get that. So this elite unit is actually a squad, and every elite unit also has a couple of actives. So it's hard for me to read because we're very far away from our TV. But let me just see really quick. This is the Vortex Grenade. It causes slow and applies Mark for Death debuff in a circle. Okay. And then Teleport Homer. The Death Watch Teleport, or Death Watch Teleport away from the battlefield. Okay, so that basically brings them back into their drop pod, and then I can drop them down wherever I want to put them. All right, so since this guy has taken some damage, I'm going to send him back to base and heal him up. And since we're starting to get a little deeper in, I'm going to start upgrading some power.
There you go. Get some more advanced units in there. Comment from Josh Kellogg, who says, I blame MOBAs for a lack of the RTS. And that's a really interesting comment, and I think I do too. I think a lot of the micro-heavy gameplay that came with something like a Warcraft 3 hero is present in MOBAs, and you're able to get the same fix without having to do your macro rotation, which I feel is the biggest barrier for entry to RTSs. So, yeah, I think that is definitely true. MOBAs a genre that sprung out of mods for Warcraft 3, and now incredibly prevalent, and kind of actually infiltrating other genres as well. You could argue that the hero shooter is a little bit of an offshoot of a MOBA in terms of the cast. So,
yep. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this game so far. It is a good balance. I mean, I've been wanting a new Warcraft 3 or a new Warcraft game for a long time, and there's definitely a lot of comparisons to be made with this game and Warcraft for sure. Oh God, they just jumped on my poor servitor over here.
So I was a huge fan of Total War Warhammer, and I think the things that differ that experience from this experience, that was a 4X obviously, but in terms of the micro, this is similar in the sense that you are controlling a whole unit, but then you also have these hero units that have these active abilities, which I find incredibly fun. I think that's my favorite thing. Shifting from one hero unit to the next, triggering their active abilities, really it feels as though I'm playing 3 MOBA heroes at once, which can be a really strong point of this game for sure.
Oh man.
And after we're done with this guy's, for a casual AI, he sure is spawning some good units.
Yeah.
We'll jump out, we'll check out some of the customization, the army painter, stuff like that. I think that is a very interesting and
it's going to be bad for me.
appropriate progression system for this game. Mantis Rokas on YouTube would like to know if this game is like Company of Heroes 2. I think it's much less like Company of Heroes 2 than Dawn of War 2 was. But there is still like a cover system. There are these like cover bubbles, kind of like bunkers in StarCraft that you can get your units in.
Ooh. Our poor kill team.
The good news is you are certainly out-resourcing your opponent right now based upon what you've captured. But it looks like he has a listening post up on that hero unit in the generator in the middle.
Oh, I should mention this also. So one of the unique things. So once again, every faction has their own advantages and disadvantages. One of the really cool things about the Space Marines is that they have these drop pods that you can do, and every time you tech up, and I'm gonna see if I can tech up soon. What's my power's going up? Let's do that. Once you tech up, you unlock a new dropship, and you can basically put units inside these dropships. So let's see. Heavy bolter. Let's put one of those guys in there. Oop, we got a hero unit. So yeah, once this guy builds, this is a separate build queue from my regular unit creation structures. And once this is done, I'll be able to drop him into any fight at any point. So the Space Marines can be very deceptive with their actual strength because they have up to 3 dropships that they can drop in.
That is a cool kind of active-passive, which makes no sense, but something that kind of speaks to the core fantasy of each faction, which is interesting. I wonder if we'll see additional factions like the Tyranids come to this game.
Are you a big Warhammer guy?
I am. I love the Warhammer universe. I'm not a tabletop guy, but boy, I think in particular the cinematics of every Warhammer game, obviously different developers and publishers handle just about every single one of them. But one thing that is pretty consistent across the board are these fantastic cinematics. The Dawn of War 3 cinematic, of course, being no different. I think the Dawn of War 2 cinematic, like, reveal trailer is maybe one of my favorite reveal trailers of all time. But the game that I have to say is my absolute favorite Total War game is... I'm sorry. Well, there it is. My favorite Warhammer game is Total War Warhammer, which I thought just so perfectly captured the concept of this eternal war. Total War is the perfect platform for that, and an RTS as well. Dawn of War, of course, before that, really being, I think, the premier Warhammer game. But it's interesting to see Warhammer across all these different genres of gaming. I think it's something that the creators do a great job of licensing out to everybody.
Oh man, I got Gabriel. Gabriel's gonna be coming down next fight. And by killing that shield generator, I got a huge boost in both requisition and power. So there are multiple advantages to taking out objectives. It's not just about securing a resource point or. Are these guys attacking? Actually, Actually, I'm gonna bring down Gabriel right now.
Here he comes.
Boom!
He's fantastic. So he's got a 3-charge jump AoE ability, and then he has a W, which is a big AoE that also creates a little shield around him. And he can just destroy like some of the weaker units almost immediately.
See, this is my problem with games that put the minimap right here, because I do a lot of this. I try to like, grab my units, and it makes me, move on the map. So be prepared for a lot of that in this over the course of this stream. I want to get these guys. Also, one of the things I really like about this game in terms of like its UI, you'll notice that if I switch to this is my main structure that I started with. Q and W are the hotkeys for making people.
Yep.
And then I switch over to my barracks. Q, W, E once again are all the hotkeys. So every structure that you do has the same basic hotkeys that you can utilize. So you don't have to memorize like, okay, now I gotta get my probes. B, C for photon cannons. B, E for whatever else.
Sure.
It's all basically everything is very similar, even among all the factions. So you don't have to memorize a lot of stuff, which I very much appreciate.
All right, we got a question here from Josh Kellogg who says, would this be good for someone who is new to the franchise? I think so. I think the original Dawn of War 2, and Dawn of War 3 are dissimilar enough to the point where you would get no real advantage having played Dawn of War 2. Also, that was a long time ago. That was a game for Windows Live game, which was the worst part about that game. There were so many awesome elements, but man, I couldn't even sign in. So every day, I'm thankful that Games for Windows Live is no longer a thing. Every day that passes, my life gets better.
Very true.
And-
So, no, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, now there's a proprietary login system for Dawn of War 3, which is super easy. It's all tied to your Steam account. So much better than Games for Windows Live. I can't even begin. Yeah, that guy's had the listening post on there for a while.
Oh, dang, I didn't even notice.
Getting those hero resource points. Corey Rees wants to know how this would compare to Dawn of War 2, and if they plan to release new races in the future. So I can't speak to the second part, but I would imagine that the answer to that would be yes, in an expansion. In terms of the first part, comparing it to Dawn of War 2, Dawn of War 2 was a lot more similar to Company of Heroes 2 in the way in which you acquired units. So if you think of Dawn of War 1 as the absolute conventional RTS, base building, resource management, farming resources, Dawn of War 2, on the other hand, hardly any base building. It's all about pumping out units and kind of microing. It's very macro-like. Dawn of War 3 is a kind of a combination of the two, where you have this base building elements, you have these conventional RTS elements, but you have things like heroes with active abilities.
Oh, it jumped right when I jumped.
That's no good.
Ba-boom.
So it's kind of a happy medium. Dawn of War 2 was divisive. A lot of people really liked it. A lot of people thought they didn't want to deviate from the Dawn of War 1 gameplay. So remember, you can tweet at IGN Plays Alive or talk to me in any of the chats. Just tell me about your day. We'll talk about your life. I don't care. Let's just do it. Life is Good wants to know, is this only on PC? The answer there is yes for now.
Pretty sure I can win this pretty much any time. But I'm going to capture this. And let's just move on in. Turrets are very dangerous.
Yeah, I love the design of turrets in this game, because one thing that you just do kind of naturally in RTS is just clump all your units up, but these turrets shoot in a telegraphed line. You'll see that here. So you actually have to micro all of your units and spread them out, which is a very interesting idea. There's that, which is just awful. That could just destroy your whole army.
It's okay, that was just a
in a single
servitor.
shot. Yeah.
They also have this stun thing that really screws you over.
I like that. It can really like allow the player who is being attacked at a disadvantage to regain a little bit of the upper ground there. Mm-hmm. If they capitalize on that stun, that can be huge.
I think I put destroying my stuff. I'm not paying enough attention to.
Question here from C-Note on Twitch would like to know if this is max zoom. It is not. You can zoom in. You want to zoom in for him?
Yeah.
Get in there. There's your max zoom. See some of the detail of the units.
Pew 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 pew.
The thing I love about Gabriel Angelos, if you actually zoom in on him and make him run, is he does this really awkward step every like 4 step, as if he's repositioning kind of his stuff, like he's wearing really tight jeans. There it is. There it is. He's like, this armor is very uncomfortable.
So, as someone who's not familiar with Warhammer 40k, can you tell me who Gabriel Angelos is?
Nope.
Nope.
He's a guy. He's a guy who screams. He's a large, muscular man. He screams and slams things with a hammer.
Yep.
So, Dawn of War Warhammer 40k is kind of one-dimensional in terms of its story architecture, but I think one of the best fleshed-out aesthetic universes. Everything is so unique and interesting and kind of brutal. But the Space Marines are... Initially, there was kind of this godlike being called the Emperor, who created all these various sects or factions of Space Marines. And the Tyranids then spread those out to the galaxy. The Emperor eventually died, but he created Primarchs in his place. And now the Space Marines are kind of a zealous, religious force that's just interested in conquering all of their enemies.
Okay.
Pretty one-dimensional, but that kind of serves the universe. So.
Cool. So we just completed a little skirmish, I would say, against casual AI. What do you think we should do next, James? Should we?
I kind of want to check out some of the campaigns.
You want to check out campaign?
Yeah, I want to see how that differs. Let's try. Can we go to the Orks, or do we have to go?
I think we have to go.
We have to start with.
Is it okay with removing existing progress?
Yeah, I don't care. I've not played any of the campaign. I've been doing multiplayer, but not all that much. I did enjoy the 2 matches that I played because I absolutely stomped. But I think when the game starts and there's that, everybody's trying to find their matchmaking rating. You either get paired up with people who you're just much better than, or people who are much better than you.
Yeah.
As tweeted by our reviewer Dan Stapleton.
Come on, buddy. I know you can do it. Come on.
Oh God, what's our backup plan here?
Oh no.
I would just give it a second. I think we're okay. Those of you wondering about the minimum system requirements for this game, as it's a pure black screen right now.
Fill the time, James. Fill the time.
64-bit Windows 7, 3 gigahertz i3 processor or equivalent, so that's relatively low. 4 gigs of RAM, which is pretty standard, and a 1 gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce 460 or higher, AMD 6950 or equivalent with DX11 capabilities. That's pretty low, but I imagine you wouldn't get fantastic performance out of that. So recommended is a 2 gig NVIDIA GeForce 770, 8 gigs of RAM, an i5, 3 gigahertz, and then Windows 10.
For the record, our computer that we're playing on does meet the system requirements.
It far exceeds them, in fact.
I think I'm just going to Alt-Tab. And,
do it. Who knows what's on the desktop? Oh, God. It's my personal Steam account, everybody.
Uh-oh.
You can friend me on Steam.
Wait.
Ah. Okay, there
After
we go.
we closed it.
Well, see you. I have quite a few games.
This is not your computer. Oh, you mean over here? Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's just installed. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've had this Steam account since I was very young. That's what the one of the IGN Plays PC's desktop looks like. A cluttered mess.
Yep.
as
Tell
you might
your
imagine.
mom. Tell your mom you got to see IGN's desktop computer desktop. There's a terrible darkness descending upon the galaxy.
All right, I have a question for the IGN audience right now. Anybody on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or anywhere that's watching this and hearing my voice, what would be your ideal Warhammer or Warhammer 40k video game? If you could be the design lead on a game and just create whatever you want, what would it be? Give me your pitch, I want to know. And I'll read it aloud so a developer out there who's listening can steal it.
It's interesting because I feel like the Warhammer series has gone through a pretty wide variety of genres. Like
Yes.
they had Space Marine, which was kind of a third-person shooter. They had I know that there was a MOBA. I think it was called Dark Nexus Arena. I'm not sure if it ever made it
that died.
past. Yeah, I don't know if it ever made it past beta, but it definitely was a thing. And you got the Dawn of War series. Fire skies shall light. I don't know what I was trying to do there. I was trying to do some Coldplay.
Okay, I thought you were doing James Taylor.
Nope.
So I have to say, I think the game that I would want to see most out of the Total War Warhammer, it's actually not really a genre, but kind of not an MMO by any means, but a large-scale multiplayer game where you control a single unit, and kind of similar to Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade. But I would love to have it be set in the fantasy universe and have like orcs against dwarves, and them just kind of be clashing in this large battleground.
Sure.
With these fun emergent elements. That would be something that I'd be super into.
Let's just get PlayerUnknown's Battleground as a Warhammer
God.
franchise.
I cannot stop playing that game. A hero shooter would be awesome, says the Decider 2016. I think that is right in line.
That would be cool.
That's something that you can absolutely adapt. Now, ultimately, with the Warhammer games, it all comes down to execution. The aesthetics are there, the background is there. It's just all about execution, how good the gameplay is. So there are some Warhammer games that definitely stand out above others.
Sure. What did you think of Space Marine?
I like Space Marine a lot. I thought Space Hulk Deathwing was an interesting idea with not so great execution. Some other ones that I really like.
Art, by the way.
Vermintide. I'm a huge fan of the idea of that game. The actual gameplay, I think, needs a little bit of iteration, but they've been doing a great job, that studio. I really like the idea of Vermintide, kind of the whole Left 4 Dead genre has kind of died. The very co-op heavy shooter, single player melee game. Single player in melee is really hard. Or I'm sorry, first person in melee. It's just a really difficult thing to solve for.
Is that our boy Gabriel?
You know it. So is this just the intro, or have you? Oh, there you go.
This is the first mission.
All right.
So, like a Warcraft mission, it pretty much centers on one of the elite units. This one centers on Gabriel, obviously. And when you start, you don't actually control all these guys. All you do is control your one elite hero, and then you kind of get more units as you go.
So I have to say, the tutorial in this game is superb.
Yeah.
One of the best RTS tutorials I've played, but if that doesn't do it for you and you don't feel comfortable enough, you can come into the campaign here. And like Mitch was saying, it does a very good job of kind of easing you into the gameplay and the micro.
And from what I've played, the campaign is basically, extended tutorial that kind of teaches you as you play all the things that you'll need to know going into multiplayer. So it's very tough to just immediately jump right into multiplayer without going through a campaign, because you're going to miss out on a lot of the subtleties in each of the factions and each of the elites that you'll end up using.
All right, we have our ideas pouring in. Courtney Daniel says the Warhammer MMORPG, which had potential but gave up too easily. It's a hard sell, man. Making an MMO just in general, especially one following in the wake of World of Warcraft, as we've seen, is nigh impossible. I think the biggest problem is the MMO being so synonymous with the kind of game World of Warcraft is, where I think you could have something super different. The thing I liked about Warhammer, what was the name of that? Warhammer Age of Reckoning, was the RVR system, the big PvP. I think that's really interesting. But it really didn't end up going anywhere, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Let's see what else we got.
I want to see a Smash Brothers style
That would be
arena
awesome.
fighter.
I'm into that.
Make it like Rivals of Aether.
I love there's a bunch of Warhammer 40k lore going on in the chat.
Yeah, hit me up with that lore, because I know nothing.
I have to check this back. Yeah, so I think they're talking about the Emperor. His body is dead, but his soul is bound to his corpse. The Golden Throne is part. This is all coming from Doug on YouTube. Thanks very much. is part of a fancy chair, part of life support, slowly falling apart. Nobody has any idea how to repair it. This is the Golden Throne. So I think that's a really interesting lore beat. They have this godlike entity who was their leader, but he's just a husk at this point. And it takes a bunch of souls to keep him alive.
That's cool. Yeah, I've always been really interested in the world or the universe of Warhammer 40K.
It's just immediately immersive, isn't it?
Yeah, and have you ever played any of the tabletop,
I've not. I've never been a tabletop guy.
Yeah. I feel like that you need the circle of friends that's willing to take that plunge with you.
Sure.
I just never have had that group.
So the question here from Neo on YouTube: what if they cloned him? Well, sorry, he's answering. The question came from, why don't they just clone him? And then a really great answer here from Doug, who says they consider that heresy, blasphemy, to clone the Emperor. They consider him the human form to be divine. Anything other than cybernetics and gene therapy is looked down. The first Warhammer game pitch coming to us from Robert Zabawa, who says, a Warhammer dating sim.
Ooh.
Who knows how that would go?
Hopefully multiple endings. You get to have your choice of
Gabriel Angelos or an orc.
Yep.
Or perhaps a Tyranid, who knows?
Romeo and Juliet style story of forbidden love.
Battlefleet Gothic Armada, says Fancater. I have not played that game, so I'm not sure how that is. Maybe you can tell me. 2009. Orpheus says Diablo. There actually is a game called, but it's not. It's kind of Diablo-y, but kind of not. Inquisitor Martyr. That's what it is. So that is an isometric game, but I believe it's not turn-based. It's dissimilar to Diablo in some way. No, never mind. Open world sandbox action RPG set in the grim universe of Warhammer 40K. So that's cool.
I just realized I left these guys all the way back there. I didn't realize I had gotten them in my squad.
Classic.
I'm doing okay.
Oh, sorry. Tyranids didn't spread the Primarchs. The Chaos Gods did. Whoops. My bad.
Whoops. How dare you?
Legend of Zelda, but in the Warhammer universe.
I feel like that you could do that with anything.
I feel like Link would be eviscerated in the first 2 minutes.
So now we're learning about the snipers right here, and they're good at, they're effective against heavy weapons at range. So you just gotta protect them. Most things with ranged weapons do really good against enemies that are melee, but the problem is that most melees have a way to close the distance really quickly, and if they get close, the ranged guys won't be able to do anything. They'll just have to run away. So kind of problematic.
Question here from BLK Hand, who wants to know, will the game introduce more factions like Chaos and the Guard, and more game modes? Will there be expansions, DLC plans? I believe, well, if they were going to introduce new factions, it would be in some kind of DLC or expansion.
Yeah.
And I think the answer there, pretty safely, yes, but time will tell.
Definitely, probably.
Definitely, probably. IGN, is there only Space Marines, Eldar, and Orks? That comes from PvP Boy Gaming. What a great name. Yes, currently those are the only factions. They have multiple unlockable heroes. I'm not sure how many. Maybe like 8, maybe more. Maybe
I
more
think
like
there's
10.
3 that you get to start, and then there's probably about 6. So I would say like 9 or so.
Okay. What's the main objective of the game? Says Best Man.
Win.
And Frog, win. Crush your enemies, see them driven before you.
Oh God.
Hear the
Not click
lamentations
on the
of their
mini-map.
women. Of course.
I just gotta get in the habit of doing this rather than this, because this gives me problems.
When I first started playing Dota 2, I just kept clicking fat fingering the minimap like a noob. And I would be running away from somebody and then click on the minimap and my guy would turn around. Please let me scale this UI, please.
I love the way the orcs talk.
Me too. I'm a really big fan of the orcs in general. In the Warhammer universe.
Wow.
John Tucker would like to know, does this game have 4K and above support? We don't have a 4K monitor, but I could probably look that up.
Pretty sure this is a 4K monitor, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
You should
Remember-
You should take a quick break and check out the graphics options. Oh, but Gabriel Angela is doing a sweet flip over that gap.
You want me to check out the?
Yeah, whenever you have a sec, we'll answer some questions there.
There we go. Options. Graphics.
William Hill, do you guys feel they changed it too much, or is it reminiscent of the first few games? Again,
This is all
yeah.
we got here. It looks
Let's see.
like
19. Yeah, but at home, I'm running it in 1440, so I know it at least goes above 1080. Oh, look at those cool trucks shooting units up. That's awesome. So to answer William Hill's question, does it feel like it's changed too much, or is it reminiscent of the first few games? I think there was an enormous change between the first and the second game. There was almost a 180-degree shift away from the conventional RTS. So if anything, this is returning a little bit to the roots of the first game. And I don't really understand the mindset of people being like, this game looks nothing like the first few games. The first two games are totally dissimilar to one another. So I think this is doing something that makes sense in the context of where people look at RTSs now. And I don't think it's deviating like a ton. Like the fact that there's a hero with units is not something that's incredibly new.
So many orcs.
Do we have base building, upgrading, and build defense like Dawn of War 1? Yes to the base building and upgrading. Building defenses, you kind of just have innate defenses. You can build listening posts, but you can't like stack turrets, for example. Trying to think of the last RTS that lets you just build a wall.
Oh, I would say like Age of Empires.
Age of Empires style. That was fun.
I
mean,
love
it's
doing that.
ridiculous, but-
I was so bad at actually making them effective, but I just love the idea of making your base look like a base.
We got a question here from Ali Akido. I was a bigger fan of Dawn of War 2 than 1. Is this more like 2 or 1?
That's a James Duggan question.
It's a hybrid for sure. Where it falls on that line, I think, is up for debate, but I would say it falls closer to... I actually think it falls closer to 2 than it does with 1. I think 1 was extremely conventional, and this is a little bit more of a modern RTS. But I could be debated on that.
Debatable.
For sure. John Tucker says, can you build walls? All I want is walls. Me too, dude.
One of these days, we'll get another RTS where we can make walls.
So the Diablo 3 Necromancer is coming out here in just a couple months. Hopefully, we'll see. That is taking forever for a piece of one hero DLC for an action RPG. But anyway, one of my favorite builds in Diablo 2 was the Bone Wall build, where you would get in a game with 7 other people, and you would go out and you would just literally block every conceivable area with this bone wall that you could then stack the time that it lasted. So you could get in a game and your allies can't attack it because it's a friendly structure.
Huh.
So you could just clog up a game and nobody could play. It was the ultimate troll. Totally ridiculous, but...
You excited for that?
Kind of. I'm
so over Diablo 3.
Yeah, me too. I really like the progression elements of the game. I really am not a huge fan of
This one.
the like moments, moment gameplays, whatever. I think they've done a really good job making something out of nothing, though.
How are people doing with the campaign? Do they want us to
They're
continue
into
with
it,
the?
man.
Yeah, they're into it.
Yeah, so
Cool.
far they're into it. There's a lot of lore discussion going on.
Would you guys
Doug
like us?
Villegas.
Would you guys like us to continue doing campaign, or do you want to see us jump into multiplayer after this? I have not played a multiplayer match against a human person, so keep your expectations nice and low.
Shout out to Doug Villegas, who's doing a great job. Hope I pronounced your name right. Doing a great job of explaining the lore of Total War.
That's nice. I love when
Not
people.
Total War, Warhammer.
I love when people are able to just like, you know, if people don't know something, they just explain it rather than making fun of people for not knowing something.
Yep, that's great. John Tucker says they ruined Diablo 3 with class-specific looting, no trading anymore. I disagree. I think you can't have unbound equipment without having a third-party black market for your game. And that's something that Blizzard just doesn't want. So I actually think the current solution isn't that bad. Getting rid of the real money auction house. Like the progression, think about what you did in Diablo 2 to get loot. You went into a trading game and traded because it was faster than going and finding a bunch of magic find items. This is really cool, by the way, this whole like arena. I love the dreadnoughts. In Diablo 3, how do you get items? You play the game. So it's like really easy to say trading was so fun. I remember trading being so fun, but you weren't really playing the game as much as you were interacting with other people, which, you know, is okay.
Ba-boom!
Tuckville guest says, no worries, man. It gives me a reason not to write my finals.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this campaign so far also.
I tell you what, 89 says, oh my god, it's Mitch, your Dark Souls.
Oh.
Sorry, your Dark Souls bit fight didn't pan out.
It panned out as good as I could have expected it. I was happy with how it turned out.
So what were you saying before I cut you off?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Jay Hupt asks, is this really like a MOBA? No.
No.
It's not like a MOBA.
It's funny because when I first, you know, knew that we were doing the stream and I was getting ready for it, I was expecting it to be more like a MOBA, but no, this is straight up RTS. Very much, or I'm getting like very Warcraft
RTS.
3 vibes from it.
Sure.
For sure.
Sure, I think there are some intricacies that Warcraft 3 this game lacks, but certainly in terms of the unit control. And Eric Westerson on YouTube, Westerin, sorry. I'm not a fan of the art style they took with this. Everything is too fast and agile. I actually disagree with that. I feel like it plays just in terms of the micro really well. That's one of my biggest takeaways from this.
Mm-hmm. Man, they're really making this seem like a last stand right here.
Oh. The Decider 2016, I'm just ready for Diablo 4. I think it's overdue. I agree. And I would be willing to bet money that Diablo 4 is in a mid to late stage of development at this point. Because Diablo is currently the only Blizzard franchise that they don't have a monetization plan in place for. Like, you go to StarCraft, you have announcer packs. You have new commanders. You go to Heroes of the Storm, there's that whole progression 2.0 system. Overwatch has, and actually a lot of people disagree with this, the kind of gambling system which is now in Heroes of the Storm, where you purchase packs that then have a chance to give you something, and I don't know. That's just a whole can of worms. But anyway, my point here being Diablo 3, you paid $60 for, and then bought the expansion 2-3 years ago, however long it was, and you haven't paid for it since. So
did when they had the real money auction house, did Blizzard ever get a cut of any of those sales? Yeah, okay.
They did.
Well,
And I actually think they were probably making I don't want to say decent. They were probably making a little bit of money with that, but not enough to justify the short circuit of the progression loop, which really ultimately led to, instead of me playing for 90 hours for a legendary drop that was worse than a yellow I found, I could go spend $2.
Yeah.
And I think that Diablo 3 was a really important learning experience for Blizzard and other developers who were watching, as well as the player base. You leveled up.
So this is important because I mean, there's so much progression in this game.
Wait a second. This is the same as the multiplayer progression, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep. So single player progression tied to multiplayer progression. And yeah, this is important because the more you level up your heroes, the more acts or the more the different abilities that you get. So let's actually look at him right here. Swear there's Okay, so this is Gabriel's little page here.
So can we zoom in on him any more than this? Yeah, we can.
There we go.
Let's get in there. Let's check out the intricacies. So, question here from Numlock, who says, how are the visuals? The beta felt a little low res, even at the highest setting. I think that the units, as we can see, it's kind of this, and maybe this is where all this divisive opinions are coming from, but it's a little bit minimalistic in terms of the intricacy that you would expect on something like a miniature. That being said, I think they do a great job of colors. I think they do a great job of texturing, and from afar, you can really tell the, what is that called? The silhouette of the units. Up close, they are, I think, low intricacy, but they are also, I think they look good-ish. I think you can easily make them look pretty bad with the army painter.
Yeah, right? Like I'm doing right now.
Exactly. But I don't really have a problem with that. I think when they're moving around in the game, when you look at them here, they're like, But when they're in the game moving around, the animations look good. I think that's important. But that's certainly a valid criticism of the game.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just showing off the army painter. So, if you're really into the whole tabletop aspect of, painting your figures, you can go into the army painter and just start painting all your stuff.
Let's check out the different skins. So the pre-order incentive, whatever. Let's check out the big guy in the middle here. He's going to pop up. Bam.
Boom.
So you can actually change his skin in addition to maybe painting. I guess you can't paint him. Oh, there you go. Here are all the different iterations of this guy. That one looks awesome.
Yeah.
Let's get in close on one of these. And
Yeah, we're right up in there.
Cool. There's a little dude on top. He's got the big las cannon there. And if you check out the very leftmost one, that's kind of one of my favorite ones. It's got some fire effects in the center. Oh, no, wait, sorry.
That's the electric one.
Middle one. That one's cool, though. There we go.
There we go. Also, we should mention, so, we talked about the progression of the elites. You can unlock all this stuff by leveling them up. You also get an extra elite doctrine. So these are very important. And basically, you can choose. It all goes into that loadout aspect of, you can choose your which elites you want to use. You can choose which doctrine. So it's basically, this is a passive bonus that you get for including this elite in your army. And this guy, when beauty is deployed, correction repair significantly faster, and target takes reduced incoming damage. And as you level them up, you also get access to this one, which is kind of like, almost Heroes of the Storm style. You can choose which ultimate you want. Well, you can choose which elite doctrine you want also.
Sure. And when you do your loadout, no, I said doo-doo. In multiplayer, you can, there's a lot to play with there, and there are some progression elements that give passives to units. Potato King on Twitter, he says, guys, I'm actually here.
Oh, Potato King, what's up?
He's never been into RTSs, but Warhammer has always seemed pretty cool to him. The style of it looks fantastic. I agree with that. I've gotten into RTSs more recently than I did when I was younger. I think I had a period with Age of Empires and what was that? The first Star Wars RTS, where it was like you would just build all these units and then click at your enemy's base and see what happened.
Mass carriers, instant win.
And then when StarCraft 2 came out, I kind of became disenfranchised with RTSs just because I just wasn't very good relative to other genres. But
so really quick, we should decide: do we want to show more campaign or do we want to jump into multiplayer?
Let me know, YouTube chat. The first thing I see in YouTube chat saying either campaign or multiplayer will do. So we're just gonna goof off here and check out some more of the Army Painter. Go to the Army Painter, check out some of the Ork and Eldar units.
Yeah.
You can do that by up there underneath the Space Marines. There you go. Yeah, it works. Check out some
we haven't
of the
really
Eldar
checked out the Eldar at all. Let's see here. Space elves, as you allowed me to call them. Is that accurate? Lore people in the chat.
Yeah.
Are they space elves?
Let Mitch know. Certainly a bastardization of them, but there are the Howling Banshees, which is one of the units that we see in the trailer, which are terrifying.
Multiplayer with Eldar.
Multiplayer with Eldar. Oh,
God
no.
damn it.
What a cruel fate.
Who is that? John Tucker?
John Tucker.
There
it is,
You
man.
asked for it.
All
you
right.
asked for it, so.
Good luck, buddy. Gonna do 3v3 and 2v2, no 1v1. I actually find 1v1 to be one of the ones you gravitate away from initially, but also one of the ones you have a best chance of winning.
Yeah.
Is it only relies on you being good. All right.
There we
It's
go.
settled. It's settled.
John Tucker wants it.
John Tucker
gets
multiplayer
it.
with Eldar. I have zero experience with the Eldar in this game, or any other Warhammer game. Not my aesthetic.
I should like chat to my teammate. Sorry, this is what John Tucker wants.
Pelagius
Pill, what's up, man?
says, "Hey Mitch, hey James, hey chat. What's up, buddy?"
Too much war, not enough hammer. I will say though, we're definitely gonna give this a time limit. If we don't find a match within like the next,
Oh, you'll find a match. Don't worry.
yeah,
Just give it like a minute.
I'm just trying to find a way out, James.
Just going to space, as Louis C.K. would say. That's not accurate, but it's funny. Give it a minute.
Give it a minute, maybe 2 minutes.
So yeah, I'd like to see Chaos next, and then I guess Tyranids. I've never been a big fan of the Tyranids. What other cool 40k races are there? I really like me some Warhammer Fantasy Universe races. I'm a big fan of the Skaven. Big fan of the Orks. Dwarves. Oh my God, the dwarves.
Oh,
They're
we're the
boys.
dwarves.
I mean, they're
We're the
not.
space dwarves.
They're not really a thing. I don't think.
Oh, damn.
They didn't make it to the future.
That's a bummer.
Just remember to build your webway gates, and you'll be okay. Thanks for the stream, guys. That comes from Dawn of War. But who knows? Maybe that's the actual Dawn of War channel. If so, hello and welcome.
I'm gonna get these just because I need some stuff here. That there. Get this one. Sure.
Pelagius wants to know if either of us have played the previous games to get ready for the stream. No, I was actually playing the beta to get ready for the stream. But I have played the previous games. I played Dawn of War 1 and its billion expansions, in addition to Dawn of War 2, and they're very different games. And I don't think it's unfair to say that this is kind of a combination of the two in terms of keeping some of the base building, but very much keeping it combat-oriented, keeping it micro-oriented, more so than it is macro-heavy.
Oh, got it just in time.
Good job, dude. Here comes an absolute victory, for sure.
See, I don't. In addition to not playing multiplayer, I also haven't played a 2v2 match, so I don't know what like proper etiquette is of taking resource points away from my teammate.
Well, I would say he's got a cool avatar, so I would let him have more than you.
But he doesn't have his thing set here.
Oh, okay, so maybe not. There we go. The
This guy's
actual Dawn of
Japanese.
War, the actual real Dawn of War YouTube channel says just remember to build your webway gates.
Okay. Thanks,
So, there
Dawn of
you
War.
Doug Villegas with the 40k knowledge. Space dwarves, they're called squats.
Squats.
They were written out. I want us for somewhere between 3 and 4 editions. I love the dwarves in the original, well, not the original, the fantasy universe, the stunties. They might be my favorite race in Total War, just because of how turtle-oriented they are. They don't really have cavalry, which is not great, but their ranged units are second to none, and that's really fun. All right, what's your APM here? 6?
Yep. 6 actions per minute. That's basically it.
Oh, you're taking a resource point on his side. That's
Is
bad
that?
manners.
Oh, whoops. Sorry. Wait. Where is he?
He's right immediately above you.
Oh, dang. All right. Sorry about that. Oh God. Now I'm falling behind. Let's definitely get this though.
Question here from Apex Assassin, whose name is in white, which is really difficult to see against the background of Twitch. Does this have horde mode? Not that I'm aware of, but I might be wrong. Kanze Kaji, what's up, dude? He says, Mitch and Duggan, hey, I've wanted to get into this series. I love tactical strategy games. Happy to see this one on Steam. I've gotten so lost in the wiki pages just trying to find out what this series is about. Well, if you played StarCraft or Warcraft 3, or any of the previous Dawn of War games, or if you've played an RTS, kind of a conventional RTS, that's a really good basis for understanding what this game is. You can see Mitch here is taking a resource point, which is a little bit dissimilar to something like spawning with a mine in a forest next to you, a la Warcraft 3. Instead, this game kind of incentivizes players to clash over these resource points, and there's intentionally an odd number or resource points on your enemy's terrain that you want to capture and stuff like that. And that is going to allow you access to new units, new bases, and stuff like that. And then when you actually get into the combat of the game, it becomes very micro-heavy, very much using active abilities, keeping some units at range, while some close the distance, using your heroes, which we'll see in a second, abilities and stuff like that. So there's a lot to do. And I'd be lying if I said this is an easy game to get into. You really do kind of have to put your mind to it and understand how to micro and macro to a sense, effectively. I have one of those MMO mice with 12 buttons on the side, and that is like cheats for a game like this. It's really good.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here.
Xeronix wants to know, do the resource points deplete? No, I don't believe they do. Pelagius wants to know if you took the Shield of Shame with you, which I assume
I did not take the Shield of Shame.
You did not, no.
The Shield of Shame is a Dark Souls 3 buckler that I got from going to an event, and basically whenever I played Dark Souls on stream and died, I would hide behind it to mask my shame. That's that story.
A lot of questions about how to join the IGN crew and how to be hired. Well, have a strong resume. That's number one. Yep. And then number two, check the IGN jobs board, which actually we are hiring quite a few positions right now on the editorial team as well. Is the video team, I want to say. Anyway, if you have a strong resume, things you can do to start, have your own YouTube page, understand promotion of your own videos. If it's purely editorial, write for freelance for another outlet, or us, potentially. And just keep a portfolio, keep a resume, and show us your most successful work. Think outside the box when it comes to getting yourself in front of somebody for an IGN interview. That being said, the way not to do it is super aggressively. Like, you still have to go through the conventional application process. There's no way around that. But, think about fun, non-aggressive ways to make yourself stand out. That's my best advice.
So the Eldar are really cool. They have a bunch of interesting abilities. They're very hit-and-run focused. They have shields, which all the others don't have. They also can do a couple of cool teleports. Oh boy, get out of there.
Oh, nice.
Dead. That was nice. That was dumb of him.
All right, you got enough for one of your call down hero units there. The Potato King says, I miss Mavis. That's a throwback, dude.
Oops, I didn't want to do that. Oh, cancel.
Mavis was a character in a Grand Theft Auto 5 Let's Play series we had when I was the Let's Play producer. And there was this mod you could install, and you could tab through the various character models. And there was this one old lady in a cocktail dress who was just the funniest thing to see her skydive and kick the snot out of everybody and wield a minigun. So her name was Mavis, and she was kind of our mascot.
I cannot find where I built my warp gate.
Uh-oh. Big problems. Is that it? Right there?
Where? No, this is the webway gate. I guess I'll
Can't you just click the...
More power.
Can't you just... Isn't there a place that displays your
buildings?
No. I could have sworn there was. Maybe that changed since beta, I don't know. Anyway.
Whatever. Alright, let's get some of these guys.
Jay Hupp says, the way you're explaining it makes it seem like Company of Heroes. Is that accurate? I guess. It's a little bit more of a conventional RTS than Company of Heroes. And the cover system doesn't play nearly as much of a part. Ooh, sweet. Good teleport.
Boom.
Oh, wow. You are doing a lot with a little right here. But I don't know how this is going to go.
Let's back him up a little, get him into that turret.
Looks like you got some reinforcements here. That one unit of melee units of your guys is just about dead. Oh, but the micro away to save
the micro!
Them. Don't let them go back in. Oh, maybe do. I don't know. They look okay, I guess. Ooh. So there's a single cover...
Oh, teammates!
Oh, nice. There's a single cover point in this game. You're doing a great job, Mitch.
Thank you. I'm no slouch when it comes to RTS games. I was hugely into StarCraft 2. Well, StarCraft 1 for one, and then StarCraft 2. My brain was more fully developed by the time I got StarCraft 2.
Did you have a rating?
I think I got into silver.
I got into gold in season, like as soon as the game came out.
Yeah.
The way that I played StarCraft 2, because I didn't really enjoy long games, was Roach Rush. So it was a win-win for me, because if I won, I won, and if I lost, I spent 6 minutes in the game.
Sure.
Which is a pretty good sign that I shouldn't be playing an RTS and should play genres that I enjoy more. So there is some stealth area, kind of a la League of Legends.
Yep.
The tall grass.
Oh man, we're already going after the shield generator here.
Doug Villegas says, Eldar without jet bikes are not Eldar. I'm sure the developers will take note. So many cool lore beats. If you guys want to know anything about the lore of the 40K universe, just head into the YouTube chat. We're getting a bunch of awesome stuff. J-Hup says, I don't play multi. Is this worth it just for the single player? I can't say, personally, because I have not completed the campaign, but our reviewer, Dan Stapleton, has. You can go to IGN.com right now and check out the review. And I know for a fact Dan Stapleton is more of a single-player gamer than a multiplayer gamer when it comes to this type of game. So his review will be very telling of how much he enjoyed the single-player offerings of the game. And I can totally vibe with that, because I don't play Total War Warhammer in multiplayer unless it's just a duel, but I never do the full game because it just takes way too long. But I play that on various difficulties and love it. It's a very fun single-player experience. Though I'm primarily a multiplayer gamer.
No, I lost my hero. Those assholes.
Well, you only have 2 minutes left, and then you can use it again.
Alright, we got this. I'm feeling pretty good about this game.
Ceremoniously says, yeah, this game is horrid compared to past Dawn of War games. I would love to hear why you think that is. I have a difficult time articulating it, but I see a lot of people with divisive opinions, mostly in like promotional material on YouTube. Some of the Steam reviews, they're, again, pretty divisive, but I would err more towards the side of I think this game has something to offer than not. But I don't have nearly enough experience to make that a claim. But I would be interested to hear your gripes of the game, which I'm sure will be valid if you've played it.
Ah, scary. Oh, he's going in there. All right.
Here's an interesting critique. This comes from Neo on YouTube. Says, the second part about what you were talking about is holding me back. I kind of wish for generic heroes for multiplayer instead of having you play Gabriel Angelos regardless of chapter schemes. I could see how you could take issue with that if you were very lore-centric. Someone like me, I don't really care too much. But yeah, I could see that. Like, instead of Gabriel Angelos, it was like Captain or something that had certain abilities. Kind of like the way Warhammer 3 dealt with it, like Farseer, Torn Chieftain, and stuff like that.
Battle has escalated to phase
2. Question here from Dimitri. Wait, does the player get a unit for each point taken or for each building built? Neither. Much more conventional in terms of RTS. You build the building, and then you crank out units based on your resources.
Mm-hmm.
2. We are through the fray.
Interesting thing about Eldar also, as we can see right here. So this is my warrior portal. I can actually relocate it to right over here. Well,
So a lot of people are not a fan of the animation in this game. I am. I love the animation in this game. I think that there are other things that, like, I'm a little bit less sold on. But in terms of animation and control and fluidity of units moving, people are comparing it, saying it's like MOBA. It's made for a MOBA audience. That just means, like, what is... Nicely done. Victory, you did it. What is a MOBA if not synonymous with, like, fluid movement and good gameplay? You get in there, you use your active abilities, and it looks good and immediately goes off. There's no delay. The animations aren't all clunky. How is that anything but a positive? You know? I don't know.
I won my first multiplayer game, James.
You did it, dude.
I did it.
Nicely done. Nicely done. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. What we got?
Oh, the Potato King asks the question that will take 30 minutes to answer, which is, what genres has Warhammer been through?
We've kind of already been through it.
Literally all of them. I'm trying to. I think the better question is, what genres has Warhammer not been through? Dating sim. They've not done a dating sim. MOBA. There's one.
Yeah,
They tried.
They tried.
Didn't work.
I was actually a PR representative for a PR firm that was doing PR for that MOBA, and I got to play a bit of it, and just never got to see the live day. It seemed cool. So we're gonna do another multiplayer match. We're gonna check out the Orks, because we haven't really explored what's unique about the Orks yet.
Love me some Orks.
Yep. Wag.
Wow.
Yeah, the Orks are really cool. I think they have the strongest starting unit, so they're really strong early game. They have a unique upgrade tier, or upgrade path, let's say. Whereas the Space Marines and the Eldar, you upgrade your tech through your main starting structure. The Orks actually upgrade their tech by placing these towers, and they have up to 5, I believe, tech ups that they can do.
To clarify a point I talked about earlier, if you think the animations don't look good in this game, that's a valid point. If you think they don't look good because of how fluid they are, I don't think that's a valid point. It's like being like, oh, this movie has fantastic CG. The special effects suck because I hate CG. But like, I don't know. I feel like that's more of an opinion, like a biased kind of gripe than it is an objective opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Pre-match setup. Let's see here.
A lot of people want to see Tau. A lot of people want to see other factions. I think that's a pretty big point of contention about this game. Totally valid. Only having 3 for Dawn of War.
I got my 3 elites. I got my thing set over here. Cool. Oh, I'm on this side. Oh yeah. Okay, so this looks good. And once again, guys, we're live on Twitch, YouTube, and if you have any questions, you can tweet at us using the hashtag IGNPlaysLive.
Good plug.
I'm gonna check out some Orks.
So let's see. I believe this game has a demo,
Oh yeah?
which is pretty cool. That's some old school. Check our game out before you buy it stuff.
I miss those days. I miss the days of the demo.
Wow, a lot of really.
Curry
lot
just
of-
got a demo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just came out today. So the WOG ability greatly strengthens an Orc assault, but also announces itself. So yeah, so that's one of the interesting things about the Orks is that their main unit can make themselves dramatically stronger by channeling a battle cry. But the downside to it is that it reveals there's no such thing as a sneak attack when it comes to playing as Orks, because you will reveal your force if you try to use that. All right, let's go. Where am I? I'm going to go right here. We're going to build another one. We're going to get.
So a lot of the criticisms coming about this game are saying that the hero units are strong, a little bit too strong, which makes some of the smaller units feel insignificant. I think that's valid.
Okay.
There's a lot of the Steam reviews are super in-depth and obviously have a lot to offer. But, you know, we'll see what the developer does with that in the future. I think that could be really interesting for balance, and that's something that you can fix. But
Let's war. Send them right there. Get some more. Follow these guys. Those. Oh,
Sizer P says, so what's the deal with the hate on this game? I don't know. It's a good question. I'm sure that there is a valid reason, and I am not a big enough Dawn of War fan to kind of throw my hat into that ring. But in terms of like an RTS in 2017, This looks all right to me. I guess I would just be more excited that there is new things being tried in the RTS genre, and it's something that development costs are being put into. I feel like the most successful RTS game, even though it's a little bit 4X in the last year, was probably Total War Warhammer. Am I totally off base by saying that?
I have no idea.
That game is fantastic.
Yeah.
I have 106 hours played in that game. For someone who has literally never gotten into a Total War game before, I think that's pretty good.
Die, 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 die!
Requisition generator done.
Ooh, man. All right, we can go back. Oh, there's some stuff going on over here. Those are my buddies. That's good. All right, let's build.
I guess you could make the argument that previous games had more factions at launch for the price point that is similar, and of course, if new factions come to the game, unless there's some announcement that I'm totally unaware of, I would imagine they would cost money. So that's a valid criticism.
Gotta make a wall tower right there. And let's see. What else can we do? Where's this guy? Let's make another tower right here. Actually, make one of these. Oh man, I'm gonna need some help here. Look at this
Orks
combat.
versus Orks. Yeah, this is tough to tell what's going on. For sure.
I don't know who's winning right now.
All right, animation point noted.
But I got my tower here that's gonna finish, so it's gonna be pretty good for me in a bit.
I'm a big fan of the telegraphs. I think they could probably do with a little bit more clarity in terms of which units are mine and which aren't. But if you look at like the unit status bars, for instance, it'll tell which ones are in distress as well as status effects and things like that. So that is visually indicative of what's happening. So that's nice.
This is gonna finish, right? Did they kill this guy? They might have killed mine.
Xeronic says, maybe I should get back into RTS games. The last game I played was Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars. What a classic. You know, but then how do you go about doing that? There are just so few choices in today's RTS landscape. And I think a lot of them, like, you know, StarCraft 2, for example, in spite of Blizzard being a developer who really prioritizes accessibility, StarCraft 2 is a pretty hardcore game. It's fiercely competitive, and it doesn't really hold your hand.
I'm gonna help out my buddy over there.
Cracking the RTS chestnut is a difficult thing to do for sure. I really like aesthetically, like how buildings come down. At least in terms of aesthetics, I think the three factions are pretty. Where
are my teammates going here?
I don't know. Follow them. Let's get a WOG going. Doing a great job with the gameplay, Mitch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I live for James Duggan's approval.
Oh man, here's a great comment. That Hellblazer says, the only RTS I ever got into was a video game adaptation for the movie Small Soldiers. I was like 10. Wow. What's the worst game that you can remember really liking? Because you just didn't have a lot of options.
Oh, J-Force Gemini?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Really bad one.
Body Harvest? Remember that game for the N64?
Yep. I need to make a...
Brutal, what was that game called? Brute Force? For the 360? Or no, the original Xbox?
Get out of here!
It seems like the negative connotation for this game is coming from a place of validity, but also a place of kind of jumping on a bandwagon. Good example, Doug Villigas says, so wait, 6 years development cycle for Dawn of War 3 is rushed? That's double what most games get. That's a valid point. I think like when you get into the intricacies of how the game was developed and start criticizing that, you're losing sight of the most valid thing, which is your own personal opinion.
Back out, back out, back out!
And your own personal experience about how you felt playing the game. And what you felt was strong, what you felt was not. Oh boy, this other Orc player is doing work. So he's got a large unit there. Is that a... It's like a melee specialist of some kind.
I'm in trouble here.
John Smith, the question that we've answered a bunch. Do you guys think... do you think you guys would like to see any new races? Dark Elder, Necrons, Dogs of War. How would you like them to be played? Yeah, I mean, more factions is a no-brainer for this game. And I'm sure there will be some. Can't wait to see what those are. You know, the question at that point, is it going to be free DLC? Is it going to be paid DLC? I think that there's a set of consequences that comes along with that decision. Who knows?
We do have that. Okay, so that's good. We're pretty good in terms of resources. We have the center point. We have this point. They just got this one outside their base, so feeling pretty okay.
That Hellblazer says, "Oh man, brute force was the worst." That's true. I played brute force from start to finish, because like at that age, man, I don't know, I was maybe. Let's see when that game came out.
I don't want that actually.
So I was 13 years old when brute force came out, and I think at that age, maybe not now, but when I was growing up, just having an original Xbox, there weren't a lot of choices, and a lot of the times it was like what your parents ended up getting you that you played.
I need help!
Oh boy.
Wow!
Orks are so great.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lose this.
Hellblazer says he understands RTS and what makes them good, but this looks like chaotic nonsense to him, and he can't even grasp what's happening. Yeah, that's, I guess, a fair criticism. You know, you could potentially say the same thing about, like, looking at StarCraft or something. But if you are truly, like, a big RTS guy and this looks like difficult to read, then sure, that's valid.
Where's this guy? Get over here. Let's make one of these guys. Get off my building! Finally, my teammates coming to help. Let's get that guy in there so I can do something.
You did it.
I did it. Well,
Killed an elite git.
yeah, I mean, I didn't do it, but... Ba-boom.
One of the things I like is...
Get these guys. Get these guys.
in terms of like audible callouts and readability. In this game, when you hear, like when your camera is away from the action,
Yeah.
in other RTSs you'll be like, "Our units are under attack." In this one, it's like, "Our units are under attack from a very weak force," or "Oh my God, there's this super BA dude who's like kicking our butts. Get over here." So it kind of gives you a little bit of a sense. The computer kind of figuring out how much of a threat the units that you're fighting against stand, and then informing you. Oh man, did they just drop the big guy
What big guy?
up there in the middle? Are you getting wrecked right now at your base?
No, I think we're
Oh.
about to go wreck someone else. So
Okay.
they just used their wall tower to buff up all these boys. Let's get this over here.
Carl Kenny says, you know what, lads? I wonder where he's from. I almost want to wait to buy this game until the first DLC comes out, unless new race is under £5, £5, and it's like 18 quid. So, yeah, I think that's valid. I think like waiting to see how this game fares in terms of DLC offerings, how much that costs. Sure. I think whenever you feel like waiting to buy a game, do that. That's a very healthy decision. Whenever you feel like pre-ordering a game, just out of nothing but hype, maybe give it a second. That could be really tough because, man, I am a sucker for those pre-order bonuses, that's for sure.
Shoot the boys deployed.
The Hellblazer says, it seems like a lot of RTS games are fantasy or sci-fi themed. Feels like a legit military or even medieval setting would be interesting and have epic battles in an RTS. There is a game called
Oh God, it would be super nice if my teammate would help me out at the bottom here.
So there's one game in particular, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but I'm looking it up right now. Northgard is interesting. It's kind of like a passive take. You don't really micro anything. It's more macro-oriented if you haven't played that. It's in early access, though. So Company of Heroes 2, obviously, is military-themed, World War II historic. Then there's also, I'm not finding this game that I'm looking for.
What the fuck is going on over here?
So that is that big shield thing is a cover point. So units inside it take no damage unless you send melee guys in there.
Yeah.
So you actually have to destroy the shield first, and that's kind of like, that's the closest thing from Company of Heroes 2, I think.
How do I ping? I need to know how to ping. There we go.
Not sure.
Let's ping here.
Boy, what is that game called that I'm trying to think of? It's like a pure modern military setting. Anyway. Can't find it.
Ow, 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 ow. That was foolish. That was foolish of me. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna let them have that point. I'm gonna help out my team over here because obviously he's not interested in helping me out.
So the Total War series was historical. Yep. War Game, that's what I'm thinking of. War Game Red Dragon and War Game Airland Battle and stuff like that. So War Game is kind of a very large scope RTS that is set in a modern or slightly historical setting like the 80s or something like that. Like a somewhat fictional Cold War, but it's all very grounded in reality.
Become some odd boys. So orcs can loot scrap basically and get a nice little buff. Make some odd boys. All right, there we go. Ready to go. Wow!
Here we go.
I love it. Let's also get that guy down there.
Is that your weird boy? No. How long does that WOG last? The buff.
I'm actually not sure.
I really like that, though. I love that you and your ally kind of grouped all your units up around that WOG tower. Oh, boy, it's going down up here. Oh, my goodness.
Get in there. Watch this, watch
Utter
this.
chaos.
Ready, ready. Oh, dang.
If only anybody was... Oh, there you go. You can move him while that AoE is going on. That is awesome.
I don't know if I'm actually hitting anything, but I feel like I'm doing stuff.
It looks cool. There's definitely units over there you can hit. There you go.
There we go.
Now you're definitely doing stuff. Wow, that lasts for a very long time.
Yep.
I like that, man.
See what happens when we work together?
Total War Warhammer is worth the price, but the DLC feels disappointing for how much they charge. That's Jay Hupp. Yeah, I agree with that. I thought the Beastmen were pretty underwhelming. I thought paying $3 for Blood for the Blood God is ridiculous. They definitely got a little DLC greedy on that game. But for the overall experience of that game, it's pretty good. And at that point, you can kind of forgive some of the ridiculous DLC prices. But
Get him, get him, get him, get him. Oh, they mass recalled. Cowards.
I think my favorite DLC for Total War Warhammer was the Wood Elves. That faction is... I mean, I don't really... Like, on the macro game, they're kind of crappy, but in the micro game, they're so OP.
We gotta go back.
If you guys have not... oh yeah, your base is getting wrecked.
Yep.
If you guys have not played Total War Warhammer, I don't know if there's going to be like a Game of the Year version of that. That's one of those games to watch out for a Steam sale on, because if you've like never played it, and there's like a complete version for like $25, that is so worth it. There's so much content in that game.
They're gonna get that.
That'll probably happen before Total War Warhammer 2, I would assume.
Get in there.
Oh boy, Rising Storm 2 Vietnam is available for pre-purchase. It's an interesting series.
Get him, get him, get him, get him. We got it here. Let's get this. War on two fronts.
The Hellblazer says, Doug, and you still slay fools in For Honor? I'm glad they're adding free content to give my friends and I a reason to get back into that game. So the last time I played For Honor was one of those games that I played so much during the beta process, pre-release, for IGN, for streams, for promotional material, for guide videos, that by the time it actually came out, I was over and done with that game. I had probably sunk maybe 50 hours into it at that point. And yeah, I had a really good time with that game, but it just, man, the weird peer-to-peer system gave the game this inconsistency. And the way that it works is it's like this round-table peer-to-peer system. They actually kind of proprietarily developed this network architecture that is not dedicated servers, it's not conventional peer hosting, but it's basically everybody shares the load, which means that when you're fighting one person, it's an extremely different ping experience than when you're fighting another person in the same game. And it gives the feeling, just like when you really start getting into it, this incredible inconsistency from fighting one guy to the next. And so that took me a really long time to figure out exactly what was going on. But after I figured that out, I'm just not really about it. I do love that genre though, the melee combat genre. So like chivalry, medieval combat, War of the Roses. The best one though, probably being Mountain Blade and Mountain Blade Warband. And I am so incredibly excited for Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. We'll see what that game has to offer. And then there was this game that got Kickstarter recently called Mordhau that also looks very, very good. But I do love that genre, dude. So thanks for asking. That comes from the Hellblazer. Here's a great comment. Another game I remember fondly is the Battle for Middle-earth RTS series, and that comes from Xeronix. Yeah, that was a good series, man.
Ugh.
A lot of those types of like one-off games end up dying on the vine, though.
All right, guys. I can't even speak. I'm so...
You're so into it.
Let's do it.
Is
Let's
that
take this
Walktower
out.
going off?
Huh?
So give me a breakdown of what's going on in the game. Like, are you favored to win? You think at this point?
I think so. I think we're pretty good. We definitely have had the edge in
I love
point
this
control.
watch tower thing.
Wah! Sorry for your ears.
That is so cool.
Let's go!
It reminds me of the Doof Wagon in Mad Max.
Uh-huh.
John Smith says, apologies for not knowing either of your names. I'm James, that's Mitch.
Yep.
But would either of you like to see Tome Kings in Total War Warhammer? Yeah, man.
I have no idea what that is, but sure.
So, Tomb Kings. So basically, Total War Warhammer 2 is taking place on a completely different continent, which is the New World, which of course is like synonymous to the Americas, in the pseudo-Earth-like setting of Total War fantasy universe. And the Dark Elves, the High Elves, and the Lustrians, right? But anyway, the Skaven are probably going to be in Total War Warhammer 2. I think it's an incredibly brave decision not to have something like the staples, like the Orks, Dwarves, the Chaos, the Empire, the Bretonnians. So it's really interesting that they're just scrapping all the old factions for this game. Supposedly in Total War Warhammer 3, we'll see literally all of the factions. It's some kind of crazy, huge thing. But yeah, I would love to see. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of new race offerings for the second game. We'll see how all that goes. It's brave, though, and something to be commended, trying something new for sure. I have to, I'm going to read this comment, I'm going to have to replace some words. Carl Kenny wants to know if we're excited for Tekken 7. He knows he is. It doesn't care if anybody hates it. It's getting bought.
I'm excited for Tekken 6. I love fighting games, so yeah, for sure. We want to go over here? Is this where we're going? You go top, I'll go bot. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Talon says, I'm interested to know how the 1v1 competitive scene will play out in a few weeks. That'll be really telling of the balance of the game, for sure. The two games that I've played, I've stomped. I've found that I've had a difficult time finding an equally skilled opponent. So maybe we'll see in the future. I'm sure if I play in the future, I'll get wrecked, and then
oh man, look
maybe
at all
fall
this.
into a nice area with a good game.
I have no idea what's happening right now.
Yeah, a lot of people excited for Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord in the comments. I would go out on a limb. Oh my goodness!
Oof, this is rough.
You got destroyed by that dreadnought.
Real rough. But I got my big boy coming out. I have no idea what he does, but
wait, you really big guy?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Look at it.
Oh dang!
Use his actives. Use his actives. Who knows what they do?
I don't know what they do. I don't know what this does.
I think that does a bunch of damage to people. And he's running into it like a fool. Oh my goodness.
Oh!
This thing is awesome. Yo, use that W. There you go.
I don't know what it does.
Getting hit by something. He's taking a ton of damage from those attack marines over there.
Oh, it hurts. I'm scared.
No, kill him.
Keep going.
Your
Keep
friend's
going.
coming
All
in.
right.
Yeah, your friend's coming in.
Your friend's coming in.
All right, maybe get him back and repair. I don't know. Now you're good.
I should actually
man.
Look at what he does.
That was fantastic.
All right, he's got his though. All right, that's good. They literally nuked my army. I have nothing.
So anyway, yeah, Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2. That will be the game that sends Mountain Blade into the mainstream, because that game is just fantastic. If you haven't played Mountain Blade, just the straight-up Mountain Blade, not even Warband, get it. Get it on Steam. I think it's probably like $5 or $10.
Go get it.
It looks, by today's standards, the graphics are bad. However, like, it's not about the game. It's not about the graphics at all. The gameplay is so interesting. You start out as this guy on a horse. You conscript mercenaries or hire people into like your medieval clan. Basically, you can take prisoners, and you basically run into other people on this overworld map and then fight them in this really interesting gameplay. What is that giant like? Is that
So
just his aura?
it's a force field that looks like it absorbs damage
Cool, man.
and enables the Mega Blast abilities. Okay,
So you absorb a bunch of damage, and then you do Mega Blast? That's awesome, man.
that's done. Okay. That is for each charge it has. Ready's a. I can't.
J-Hub
read.
says, this is definitely a pretty game to watch. I agree. I think it's very visually
Ow! Ow!
evocative.
Ow! Ow!
Ouch.
Ow! Jeez.
Whether that is readable or not is up to you. But uh-oh.
I would like to apologize to my teammate for not joining him in his assault on the turret,
Uh-oh.
but I'm on my way. Slowly making my way. Don't worry, I'm coming. I'm coming. Oh man. It's so bad.
Kazakasi says, Mountain Blade was an incredible time sink. It was so fun to take castles. There's just so much to do. I agree. And man, the multiplayer for that game is absurdly fun. Oh no! They brought his big guy down. Let's see if they can bring yours down. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Blast him.
Comes the big blast. Oof. Ooh, taking big damage over there. Looks like his hero unit's about to go down. Running out of there. You're sitting pretty at 60% HP.
Where are my units?
Get your guys, get Gorguts in there, man. I feel like your dude's dying. Oh no, he's doing alright.
All right, well, we got their shield generator. So there's that.
Yu wants to know, will the Skitarii be the next expansion playable faction for this game? He wants to ask Relic. I think they're lurking around the chat, so maybe they'll answer, but I'm not sure anything is confirmed of yet, but I do think, like, expansions for this game and DLC is a no-brainer. Did he just pop somebody out of there? You should get him out of there, man.
I'm trying.
I think you have Gorgut selected.
Mass recall. Oh, I don't know what happened there.
I think that dude just annihilated all your little units. It does definitely seem like the heroes are where it's at.
Didn't mass recall didn't
Take
work.
it how you will.
I have so much money and I don't know what to do with it. Oh boy.
Does anyone know if this will run on a Radeon 5770? I don't believe it will. The minimum, as mentioned by J-Hub, is a 6950. Squeaky Hammer says StarCraft community is dropping. Yeah, welcome to 2012, dude. Though they have like commanders and they have announcer packs, and I haven't really messed with any of that stuff, but Sergeant Sniper says, I tried StarCraft, wasn't for me. Not much into traditional RTS games, economy management and whatnot. Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's one of those things, is like being so immersed in games as I am. I've really tried a lot to get into RTSs, and the most success I've ever had is with Total War Warhammer, which isn't really even an RTS as much as it is like a 4X. But I love the micro of RTS games. I love managing multiple units. I just hate, maybe hate's the wrong word, I have difficulty filling in a macro rotation into that, which is a skill thing. Like, maybe I'm just not practicing. Rigmore the Root says, are MOBAs actually fun? I've never played one. Dude, what are you doing? MOBAs are so fun, man. MOBAs are one of the two genres that I stopped playing because I was spending too much time doing it and it was taking over my life. So that should give you some sense of how fun they are. Here's the Storm is a good starting MOBA. It's, in my opinion, falls off a little bit towards the end. There are some heroes that I think do a really good job of carrying, but the game doesn't have a shop system, doesn't have some of the more intricate elements, and is really, I think, catering to newer players. But in terms of the pick up and play, let's have fun and play right now MOBA, I think Heroes of the Storm is great for that. And I also think there are a lot of, oh, here we go! Otherwise, League of Legends, Dota, check them out. Dota's tough to get into, but there are tools, lots of tutorials.
This guy has no patience. He's just like,
He just goes.
I got my watchtower. We're going. Oh man.
Empires is the best RTS from Sir. I assume he's talking about Age of Empires.
I just wish I knew what was going on right now so I can help out better, but...
Well, there's a giant enemy laser, which is like some kind of orbital cannon that I would not bring your units into. That truck just got destroyed. Was that yours?
I have no idea.
Uh-oh. I think that giant orbital laser can move. All right. Orbital laser down, so you're going to take out that Predator tank.
Why is it not dead yet?
There we go. Cool. Boy, this one's going on for a minute, huh?
Yeah.
We got 20 minutes left. This game has been going on for 32 minutes, which is much, much longer than the games that I've played.
Yeah. But I feel like it's nearing its end here. We got my partner is going back to base, I guess. We're not mounting the final assault yet. I mean, we are so outpacing them when it comes to resources. But again, the problem is that I don't know what to spend my resources on, so part of that is a little bit of a lost advantage.
Yeah, that's always a bad feeling. All right, what's up, Twitch chat? I've been neglecting you. I'm sorry.
I also need to make something else here. Let's try and make some vehicles.
Kaje says, I really think Nintendo should do a MOBA. They certainly have the characters. I think you're thinking of Super Smash Bros. Which is a fighter in and of itself. The Gideon 513 says, same thing happened to me with League. Yep, that was the one. Had to force myself to uninstall. I recently reinstalled after months off. Yeah, I find that League is one of those things where if I'm not into it, I'm no good at it. And then when I am into it and good at it, it's taking up way too much of my time. And I just end up being in a bad mood after playing ranked. So I stopped playing League.
Yep.
I went gold, though. I know that's like scrub tier, but hey, that's an achievement. That was way back in season 2 and 3, though.
Just look at this force of orcs.
Zarek says, best part of an RTS for me is base building. Building up a great base defense and dismantling a huge enemy base is my favorite. That's cool.
I don't know what any of these things do, but we're gonna. That's a tank buster. We got a def gun looter and a truck.
There you go. People are talking about Halo Wars 2 in the chat. Nas Laz says, yes, Halo Wars is a bit too simplistic compared to Dawn of War 3, I guess is what he's saying, or maybe Company Heroes 2. It is a little simplistic. The mode that I really liked from Halo Wars 2, nobody else really liked, which was the card-based Blitz mode. I think that could be a game in and of itself. You basically have like a Hearthstone hand, and you play units and have to control points. But dude, the PC control scheme for Halo Wars 2 might be one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my whole life. I had to do a best way to play for that, and I rage quit so many games just because like my mouse would stop responding, and I was like, how is this shit?
I was gonna say, you guys. Oh. Where's this guy? All right, this is gonna be a big old battle.
Here we go.
Get ready for it once it actually happens. I'm just waiting for the go.
Man, look at your giant cluster.
I've almost maxed out my.
Oh,
okay, here we go.
Boy,
Here we
They're
go.
taking the fight to you. Those are a bunch of killicans. Get in there, dude.
We're getting in there.
I think you have to go for the force that's taking your base apart. Oh, this is a good old-fashioned RTS giant cluster.
Let's do it.
Oh, you're shooting into his damage-absorbing shield.
Well, they're shooting into mine too.
They both did. Boy, what is happening?
I have no idea. I just want to kill this thing.
This reminds me of like EVE Online, like a giant corp battle. Uh-oh, here comes a giant enemy unit. Oh no.
What is happening? All right, good
do-
news. I
I do
killed
love the
their
madness.
thing.
This
Well, it's almost
absolutely
dead.
has that old school RTS madness of like right click and just hope you know what's happening.
Get on in there.
Wow. What a match you're giving us here, Mitch.
Thank you.
You're
I guess. Thank you.
your big dude's got some pretty good HP left.
Yep.
I think now's the time to push and take apart the enemy base.
Let's do it.
Get your hero boys in there and give them hell. Oh man, I'm gonna go to Slice House.
Come on. There it is.
Oh, the Potato King's been tweeting at me. I'm sorry. The worst part of For Honor is the drumming. It literally never stops. It gets to you after so many hours. I could listen to drums like medieval drums or tribal drums or whatever drums forever. I love pure percussion.
Ah.
Madsen is saying, GG, boys. I don't know. This game
Ah.
doesn't show signs of stopping.
They also have their huge dude also.
I know.
So.
They kept a huge dude back.
Ah. Every time I touch that map, it drives me crazy.
I wonder if you can scale the UI. That'd be very nice. Squeaky Hammer says, don't knock it till you played it. That's how I feel about every game. Though I understand we can't all purchase every game, but generally I only think an opinion is really valid if you've played. Call me old-fashioned.
Get him, get him, get him. All right, we got this.
Phil
We
wants
got
to
their
know
big
where
boy.
your comrade is. All right, this has got to be it. This has got to be the end, right?
Yeah, it's
You've
got to be.
destroyed so much of their economy. I can't imagine they would have time to just right-click that core, dude. Get that shield generator down and kill
Gotta
that
get
core.
the turret first.
Oh my goodness, there's still so much left.
You know what though? It's gonna be a good timing because
Yeah, you got 10 minutes left. Oh no,
that's okay.
nice. That laser went off at a good time. It's gonna have the stun coming up. You got Gorguts taking some big damage up there. Got to bring that turret down. Oh no! Oh no!
It's all right. Get out of there!
Dude, this match
He
is
made it!
carnage. I love Gorgut's ability of like the hook thing. I don't know, bringing like MOBA abilities into this for heroes, that's all that MOBAs are, is Warcraft 3 hero
Almost
abilities.
got it.
So, like,
Almost got it. Almost got that turret. Come
you
on!
spend
Yeah!
so much resources killing that thing.
Go, 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 go! Still good.
Marius Albrechtsen, anybody played Warhammer Online? Yes, rest in peace. Rest in peace, Warhammer Age of Reckoning.
Where
Oh, he's got a bunch of artillery. That's good news. Look at your huge wog. Oh, did your guy go down?
Nope,
It's all right.
not yet. Oh wait, nope, maybe he did. Yep, he did. Oh dang.
No, he's right there.
No, that's his.
There's
My-
two.
that's my partner. What? Oh no, you're right. Okay, cool.
Oh! Dude, the artillery. Look at the artillery. Watch that artillery come down on that thing. It's getting destroyed. I think that's totally GG.
Kill that resource point.
Mitch, I'd like to thank you very much for demonstrating how absolutely nuts this can get.
Go, 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 go! I love the
gotta
orcs,
be
man.
it, right? Get that core. Get that core down.
Let's
Discover
get that core.
It's all the way to the right, I believe.
There
No, that's
is.
it.
That's
Okay.
it right there. So what's also important to note is that they can... Oh, surrender!
Yes!
Yeah!
Right here. Bam. Good job, dude. That's 2 for 2.
Yeah, not bad.
Mitchell Saltzman with the RTS expertise.
Hey,
What? Defeat?
just call me anytime.
I said
we...
defeat.
Defeat? What?
Did they destroy
No.
your core, dude?
No, they couldn't have. What?
Wait,
happened?
we'll have to watch the post-game screen.
What happened here?
There are enemies at your core. Oh my god.
Was it a base race and I lost?
If you lost that base race, that is.
Oh no!
Yep. You lost. I take
Oh,
the fist bump back.
Oh God, no!
Mitchell Saltzman 1 for 2 here on IGN
Oh, I'm
Plays
so
Live.
ashamed.
That was a 41-minute match of Dawn of War 3, and not paying attention to your own base, it exploded.
Dang.
And look at that puny enemy force. Feels bad, man.
Feels real bad.
Here comes the comments. Your core, says Force Commander 93. Less, your core is under attack.
Where were you
Rip.
guys like 2 minutes ago?
There is this thing called stream delay. It's really hard to account for.
Man,
GG.
it was GG though.
Well,
that is Warhammer 40K Dawn of War 3. 1 win, 1 unfortunate, very unfortunate
as Tim and Eric would
loss.
say, you blew it.
I blew it. I even had like a force back at base I could have used. I just didn't realize.
Yeah, I think that was squarely within your realm.
Well, we got what?
There's a lot of
8
salt.
minutes left.
Salt, man.
God.
The salt
I'm
emoji
so
with
mad.
the Z, man.
All right. Well, any wrap up questions? We got 8 minutes. We can't actually shut out the stream until Alex gets in here. So
It's true. I feel like we just do the campaign until then.
yeah, campaign. All right, let's do it.
GG wrecked. Outplayed. I was 100% sure you had that game. I thought there was no way, after you destroying their huge force, their huge 10-cost unit, they would have any kind of means of destroying your turret and
Yeah.
your core, but they did. Look at that.
Well, there goes an example of how bad tunnel vision can be when you're playing an RTS. I'm so embarrassed.
IGN didn't keep track of its own base. 6 out of 10.
Yep.
That comment is warranted. I was just congratulating you on how well you were doing.
You even fist bumped me.
Yeah, but I have to take it back.
Retroactive. Let's take it. Oops. Oh, it's like a YouTube video.
To most, it was a scarred wasteland.
Thank you, Kansei Kage. I appreciate that.
You still did well, Mitch. I agree. I do think you did well.
My second match.
I can see how like the hero units seem to be incredibly influential.
Yeah, I mean, once you get that,
And you're-
I mean, the giant mech thing that I had, that's like a 9 elite point hero. So like that's a straight up, this game is going too long. Here's something that will end this game.
Nizamancer says, best win I ever had, StarCraft 1 Command Center left. So just one Command Center left in StarCraft. Flew around the map building SCVs and supply depots until the other guy got so pissed that he left.
Damn.
That's a jerk move. But also, it's a win-to-win, man.
All right, Gorguts, let's go.
Neo says that was a fun ride. It was indeed. I'm still in awe. So we're switching to the Orks here, and that was after a single mission with the Space Marines. Oh man, that ability is just so cool.
That's real cool. Let's get right up in there.
Turning them into mincemeat.
This game can be demanding on tech for sure.
Yep.
Like
To be
we
fair-
definitely taken some hits.
Yeah, before you started, I turned everything up to max settings. But yeah,
Oh, did you?
yeah, it's definitely not like gonna run perfectly on every system,
Nope.
especially towards the lower end.
Just keep that in mind.
So there's heavy cover. You have to get your melee units in there to bust it up, and there's a certain trait that some melee units have that allow them to do that.
Most melee units, I think, have that. Also, we should mention all range units also have a melee stance.
Yep.
So if if they get rushed, they can use melee, but they're just very bad at it.
The Potato King sums up this entire stream with a tweet that says, "So much violence."
At least 40,000 tons of violence.
Kanchikaze says, "You're welcome. You helped me with my decision on purchasing." Definitely will. I need to upgrade first, however. Yeah, that's what we like to do here on IGN Plays Live and IGN.com in general, is kind of like, we're here to play the games early enough so you don't have to, and you can render your own decision. But keep in mind, every review is subjective. Every review is a single reviewer. So
get in the cover.
There are certainly reviews on our site that I don't agree with, but that's the basis of debate and the basis of arguments and reviews. So.
Gain control up there. Nothing more grappling claw can't clear.
And we got about 4 more minutes left.
4 more
so
minutes.
If you have any more questions, guys?
If you have last-minute questions about Dawn of War 3, be sure to check the YouTube chat, the Twitch chat, and hashtag IGN Plays Live. Send us your questions. I will do my absolute best to read them in the time we have remaining and answer them. We're here streaming just about every Tuesday, if not every Tuesday, at 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific time, and sometimes on Thursday. However, sometimes on Thursday, sometimes not.
Yep.
But every Tuesday for sure.
Yep. Unless something horrible has happened. If we're not streaming on Tuesday, call the police.
There's a problem.
Let's get over here. Oh man, I just gotta go through this with just my gore guts.
Yeah, dude. Get that spinning fist up when you have it.
I don't have it. I didn't know I would have to do this. This is bad. Oh no!
You're gonna die.
Oh, I got buddies here. Help me out, guys. What are you doing?
Have your scrubby grunt boys tank it. Oh, here you go. You got a big reinforcement coming in.
Reinforcement. Oh. It's so interesting that, like, you actually have to take into consideration the terrain.
Brian Watkins says, "Will there be another game mode?" Great question. Don't have the answer to it. Sorry. So right now it's the campaign and then that multiplayer. And I believe that's it. I could be mistaken.
Yeah. I believe there's like 14 campaign missions. Don't quote me on that, but
is
it's
there
around
co-op
that
versus
length.
AI? That's a question.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yes.
So there is co-op versus AI.
Yeah.
I would love to see another mode. I would love to see a horde mode. I would love to see a call me crazy. I would love to see a mode focused on heroes, but I feel like maybe that's just the default game mode.
Yep. See a Dota style mode in the game.
Sure. You guys playing single player? Asked Marius. Yes. Which faction is best? Asks Weekhammer. Too early to tell for us, but though somebody else may already have the answer to that.
I mean, I don't know if there, and I guess time will tell if there actually is a best, but they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Like I said, Orks have a very strong early game. They have a very unique method of leveling up their tech. Eldars are very good at hit and run tactics. They have shields, so they can do a bunch of damage, hurt your army, run away, and then once they get their shields back, do another attack run. And then Space Marines just they're able to surprise you with the strength of their army because of their drop ships and stuff like that.
All right, I'm going to answer a couple questions super quick before we wrap this up. Is there any kind of stealth fog of war elements in the game? Yes. Is the single-player campaign more of a starter multiplayer than a real campaign? Can't really tell. The Dan Stapleton's review will give the answer to that, though it is a really good introduction to multiplayer in terms of just like microing and stuff like that. And then finally, the Gideon says, Last Stand from Dawn of War 2 was really fun. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about here, Last Stand. Anyway.
Wow!
Nicely done, dude. How many races can you play as? 3. For all other questions, go to IGN, check out the review. That's from Dan Stapleton. He scored it, I believe. The video review should be up soon. If it's not up now, it will be up in the near future. And that's going to do it for us here on IGN Plays Live. Here are our faces, and for all other things video games and RTSs and Warhammer. Keep it right here on IGN.